Getting nasty on a Thursday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. You got a Thursday night football tonight. You got Blues back in action. Got two baseball games. One starting in about 2 hours or so as Game 3 between the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. First pitch again at about 4:07 or so. They get weird with the timings with the MLB postseason games. But that one's in Arizona, so the venue shift. We'll see if the Diamondbacks can carve into the Phillies lead like the Astros carved into the Rangers lead last night. First loss for Texas in the MLB postseason.
Yeah, tough one there. Max Scherzer got the start. Didn't go exactly according to plan.
No, you got to love the competitiveness out of local hero Max Scherzer, but no, things went sideways there. Houston's gonna make it a series. Texas, I like Texas to win this series, I do, but Houston wasn't going to go off quietly into the night. So their bats showed up last night. Credit them. Now we'll see if they can even the series tonight. That one first pitch 7:03.
Yordan Alvarez,
he's a stud.
Is unbelievable.
That guy's pretty good.
Yeah,
I heard people comparing him to David Ortiz, the way that he mashes the baseball.
Well, he showed up.
He puts one. He put some power behind it.
Well, and he showed up last year in the postseason too.
Yeah,
in a big way.
Yeah, he's a postseason performer.
So I can see that's why they're giving the old Big Papi reference. Yeah. So he's got some work to do if he's going to be in that category.
Well said there, Jamie.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But tonight, the Blues back in action, like I mentioned before, against the Coyotes. Jamie Rivers' Coyotes. He owns them. Because he ruined them.
I've ruined that franchise.
Yeah.
Look what they're going through.
So they're 1-2 on the year, but you know they're kind of in a similar spot, I guess, to start the season, in which their play not terrible. They're looking to kind of ignite their offense as well. They started on a high note. They won a 4-3 shootout over the Devils. Then they followed that up by dropping 1-goal decisions to the Rangers and Islanders. So at least they've been competitive. This isn't the team we should be overlooking right now early in the season.
No, this is the sleeper team in the division.
Really?
Yeah, because what Bill Armstrong did was very subtle, but he added Logan Cooley. He got the young man to sign, and he is just a fantastic young player. He's already got 3 points in his first 3 games. He had a highlight reel goal in preseason. It's just another really good, talented young player that goes alongside local boy Clayton Keller. Mm-hmm. Who, he drives the offense for that team. And Nick Schmaltz, against the Blues in particular, those two guys are really good. So you had those 3 guys kind of coming in here. But what Bill Armstrong did is he added veteran players. So experienced NHL guys. So rather than doing the whole rebuild thing where you've got a bunch of bubble players and you're not sure and looking for that top draft pick, I think Bill Armstrong realizes that it's time to kick it into gear a little bit here. Like, you can't be in rebuild mode for a decade.
Yeah.
And so what he did is he went out and added some veteran guys to the lineup. And what it did is it created depth. So when you get Matt Dumba on defense, Travis Dermott on defense, you added Troy Stecker on the blue line, or up front, on the blue line as well. So you just added some guys, Jason Zucker. So this team, it's not the bottom feeder that it once was in the Central Division. They're going to be competitive. Night in, night out, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be in some games. Where they fall short is defensively, they're not the greatest team. They still give up quite a few chances. So that's going to be interesting, too, to see if the Blues kind of kick out of their funk offensively. We know they've played 2 really solid games as a defensive group, but you still only put up 2 goals in 2 games. Maybe now's a chance to open up the offense a little bit. But again, you can't overlook this team because they got some veteran guys and they got some really talented young players that can hurt you.
And their young goaltender has been pretty good, too. Vejmelka.
Well done.
Did I nail it?
Yeah.
Vejmelka. 33 saves versus the Islanders, turned aside 66 of 70 shots this season. So Vejmelka, even though he's facing a lot of shots, similar to Binnington, although I think he's got 2 starts or he's got 3 under his belt at this point. Either way, he's facing a lot of shots, as you mentioned, Jamie. But the kid stood up so far.
Yeah, he's going to have to be good because the Coyotes are going to give up chances. They are. I mean, it's just the law of averages is they don't have a big, burly defending group. They traded away their best defenseman, Jacob Chikrin, now who's playing for the Ottawa Senators, and boy, are they a wagon this year. Boy, oh boy, Ottawa Senators making some noise. up there in the Atlantic.
Brady told us.
He did.
When he joined us. He was happy for his brother and the success that he had in the postseason, but you could tell. I mean, you could tell through the phone that Brady was chomping at the bit to get back on the ice. So his team can make a run here.
Yeah, and Big Daddy Vladdy, we quick to criticize sometimes. He's been on fire lately, playing really well. So maybe he's inspired and the group's inspired by him. Nonetheless, Auto Center's playing pretty good. But back to the Coyotes, this is a team too that you just can't look past your opponent. The Blues don't have the season, the roster this season to just look past opponents. Every game, we talked about it before the season started. I said every game's going to be, you have to go in with the one-goal game mentality. Because that's going to be how you probably win most of your games. You're just not going to blow the wheels off of every team that you play against, specifically even against the Coyotes. So that mindset has to be there tonight. I know Craig Berube. He's going to tell the guys, you've won one game in a shootout. Let's make sure we're sticking to the process here. And I think the best thing that I've noticed from the players is, it's not that there was buy-in this year and not buy-in last year, but they are seeing the fruits of their labor. Mm-hmm. They're seeing that playing this strong defensive system, being committed to the defensive side of the puck, blocking shots, all these things that they've talked about, they're seeing now that it's working. For at least for the first two games, it's worked very well for them. So now it's what's the next step for this group? The next step is creating a little bit more offensively, and then also get your power play going. Coyotes' penalty kill is not great, but your power play is not great right now. Mm-hmm. So which side will win that battle tonight? I'm hoping the Blues start to put some pucks in the net on the power play.
You mentioned that the Coyotes give up a lot of chances. Could this be a game that ultimately helps the Blues offensively where they want to be moving forward? Just get a little confidence in their game and try and figure that out?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you're always trying to build confidence and try to get things going offensively. Sometimes it's more difficult because the other team's pretty good.
Yep, right. I think sometimes we forget that there's other players on the other team that are playing that also can play a game of hockey.
They get paid millions of dollars to stop you from putting the puck in their net. So the one thing Chief brought up in the last couple of days I thought was interesting is the fact that the Blues have created some offensive opportunities. They've had some pretty good looks out there. They haven't executed on those looks to where they've either bumbled the pass at the last second, fanned on the shot, they've hit a couple of posts. So if you turn a couple of those into goals, all of a sudden it looks a little different. But again, it comes down to confidence for the group, is making sure that you know what you're doing with that puck and being very predictable at times. I like the way they're getting to the net right now. I like that Toropchenko is going to be up with Schenn and Kapanen. I think they're going to do some damage tonight offensively. And it'd be nice to see that power play again get on the board.
I had this conversation last night with one of my buddies. I was watching the Tampa Bay game a few nights ago or whatever. Maybe it was last week. But they have Nick Paul right in front of the net.
Yep.
Big forward. And he, at least in the first game, he had 2 goals because he was standing right in front of the net. Do you think the Blues maybe need to put some bigger players right in front of the net on the power play at least?
Well, they've had them there. The problem is they haven't had the puck in the offensive zone.
That's fair.
They barely get into the zone to get set up, and when they get set up, they're getting pucks knocked down with passes. They're not executing anything right now. Mm-hmm. So I know that Braden Schenn has been there at the end of last game or in the second period once Booch was out. Kapanen got parked in front. I don't think the net front presence is the problem. The problem is that he's there and you don't need him because you don't have the puck. And he's doing down and backs because you're breaking the puck out 4 or 5 times every power play. So that's probably more the issue than anything. I think it should be noted, too, that Joel Hofer is getting the start tonight in the pipes for the Blues. A little bit of an interesting one. I thought the Chief would go back with Binnington just because, the last game was a Saturday night. And if you go all week, that's a week without getting into a game. But I understand the concept. Joel Hofer's got to play. He's got to play. And if you're looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins or you're looking at the Arizona Coyotes, the Pittsburgh Penguins got a little more firepower up front. Not that Joel Hofer can't handle it, but Jordan Binnington's been playing extremely well so far this year. So it's going to be nice to see Hofer in the net. Let's see what he brings to the table. I'm extremely confident in what he can do. I don't think the team needs to adjust one thing. I think they're confident in this young man as well. But it'd be nice for him to get his first game of the year under his belt, here a home game, and it's a big game for the Blues as well.
That's Jamie Rivers. He's got Bally Sports Midwest duties a little bit later on, so he's going to be with us for the first 2 hours. Brad Thompson will be joining us for the final 2 hours today here in the Fast Lane, where it's 2:12. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. The Thursday night football game is pretty intriguing tonight. We usually don't get interesting storylines, but you got the Jaguars, you got the Saints tonight. And I think there's two different storylines when it comes to these two quarterbacks that I expect both of them to play tonight. Carr practiced. Trevor Lawrence is coming off the injury, but apparently it's only a minor injury, so I expect both guys to play tonight based on the reports that we're reading. But when it comes to these two quarterbacks, again, two different storylines that we're going to approach next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, NFL football, we love it. We talk about the Thursday night game tonight, the Sunday afternoon. That's amazing. And the Monday nighter. Well, you should always be involved. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And one great way for people to get involved, especially if they're new customers, get over and sign up because you're getting $200 in bonus bets, and that's guaranteed. And all you have to do is place a $5 bet. So, again, let's go over this. You sign up, you place a $5 bet, and you get $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed.
And then you can look at tonight's game. You got the Saints, you got the Jaguars. I know a lot of people are lined up to take the Jaguars. Maybe you're on them too. Maybe you take the money line odds there because they're plus 1.5. Look at some Trevor Lawrence props or maybe some Calvin Ridley props. Or you're in contrarian and you want to go with the Saints. You do that as well. It's a low-scoring game. It's up to you how you want to play it at FanDuel. You got spreads, player props, totals, the same game parlays that I was just talking about, all available at FanDuel, but you do have to visit FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast. Take advantage of the offer that Jamie just read to you. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 and over in President, Illinois. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hey, BT here. Are you looking for a job or tired of the one that you have? Well, family-owned O'Fallon Casting is growing, and they're looking to hire you. Join their team today to receive great pay and benefits while supporting our nation's largest defense and aerospace contractors. Current openings include experienced maintenance technicians, welders, quality, visual inspection, and more. Located in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway 70 and T.R. Hughes. Visit their website at o'falloncasting.com or call 636-272-6176. Look for your new career at o'falloncasting.com.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Anthony Stalter. We're going to pause the football conversation because we're joined by one of Jamie and I's absolute favorite people. It's Reed Lowe. Reed Lowe is in the house. He was down talking to, who were you talking to, Marty down at
WIL.
WIL? Good stuff. Yep. Reed, it's always good to see you, man. How things been?
Dude, I'm doing really, really good. And, they've changed it up a little bit, spruced it up a little bit in here since I was in here last. But
a little bit.
I love this studio. I spent a bunch of time in here with you and the rest of the boys, so it's good to be back.
Well, they did all this because Anthony cried. Yeah, you did. It was okay. You shed real tears, which was impressive because normal people can't fake that, so I know you got emotional. But he was tired of all the other stations getting brand new wraps and signage. He came in, man. He dug his feet in. He had a sit-in. He wouldn't leave the studio until somebody made a decision to spice it up here. So, Anthony, thank you.
You're very welcome, Jamie. I started to stink, Reed, is what happened. They're like, we got to get this guy out. So, yeah, Jamie's telling the truth. How much hockey are you taking in these days? Because I know last time we talked, you love hockey, obviously, but you're one of the... I always feel like former athletes are kind of fall into one of two categories. One, it's like, just give me one more shift. And other former athletes are like, I'm good. I played. I'm good. And I feel like you fit into the latter category.
Yeah, without question. I retired at 31 years of age. I remember like it was yesterday, July 12th. I was working up at a performance center in Chesterfield with Jax, Jamal Mayers, and Bryce Salvador, and we're doing planks. And I just stood up, and I'm like, all right, I'll see you guys later. They're like, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, you will not see me tomorrow. They're like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm done. They're like, you're done what? I'm like, I'm retiring. I said, I'm not doing this anymore.
I can't do it anymore.
And honestly, it wasn't the planks. It was the going back and having to fight again. Like, I broke my jaw completely in half. I got a plate and 4 screws in my chin. And at the end of the day, that was kind of the beginning of the end for me. I never really liked the job, the fighting aspect of the job. What I loved about the job was that I had an opportunity to make my teammates more valuable, 2 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. And I loved that they loved that of me. As in a kid that kind of grew up with not a whole lot of friends, when I grew into that role, it was kind of something that I really embraced. And so when I realized that the pain that I was going to live after the age of 30 wasn't, and I wanted to eat soup with a spoon, not a straw, when I was 45, I thought, listen, I've already accomplished making the NHL. I've been struggling in the minors the last 2 years. What am I doing? Let's go find what else is next in the world for me. So I'm glad I did it. But yeah, I play a charity game here too, but I really don't enjoy putting skates on my feet. I don't enjoy really playing much, but like if we're out if we're going to Nashville for the weekend and playing against the Predator alumni, like I'm not missing that trip. You know what I mean? I'll gut out an hour skate that day, but I watch it here and there, fair weather. I do a lot of tastings, and I'm real busy with my auction business that I do. So, but I always follow the Blues. I'm huge. I bleed blue.
Yeah, so one thing, too, to remember for listeners and yourself, Anthony, is like it's one thing to work your way up the food chain like Losey did. Like when you come in from junior hockey, you go to the minors, and you're fighting everybody, and then you get to the NHL. And that's the pinnacle. You get to the NHL. It's a whole other story when you start walking down the mountain on the other side and you got a bunch of animals in the jungle that are trying to climb up. They're starting their ascent. Yeah. So you're filet mignon on the menu for the next knuckle dragger from, God knows where. He wants to fight you. So, Losey, I totally agree. Last thing you want to do at 30-31 is now you got this 20-year-old kid who his biggest moment's fighting Reed Lowe. Reed Lowe couldn't think twice about fighting this guy.
Yeah.
And riding a bus for $95,000. I could go sell stuff from a garage sale and make 60 on eBay. Let's go figure something out, And no bus. You don't worry about the bus.
So, Losey, talk a little bit about what you're doing now, because I find it really interesting. Because you've always been a hustler, like always. Like whether it was hockey and anything, you're always hustling. You're always out there making friends, and people just love hanging out with you and doing things. I mean, I'm one of them. I love you. You know that. So what are you doing now? You got an auction business and you got a booze business.
Yep.
Fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, so coming out of COVID, I was working for the Blues alumni doing marketing and sponsorships and building their events. And when we all got furloughed because nothing was going on, I had to kind of get out on my own and do something. So I engaged myself more in a beverage company because we had to shift gears too and get off-premise rather than on-premise. So we had to go into liquor stores rather than restaurants because they weren't open. So I helped with that development development and getting us into a couple different places. And then once it started to kind of come out, people started calling me for the auction stuff again. And so I just do charity auctions. I help consult. I do the auctions. I help build the auctions, set the auction schedule up. If some of the consulting means like they have some hockey people or some people that I can help either sell some tickets or grow that are in their database, I'll make some phone calls for them. Just try and get out there and help it. And, there's a cost that comes with that for me. Like I do charge, but like I tell everybody, I either go get a real job and help a few people, or I get to take my love to the whole community and I get to help a ton of people and help my family at the same time. So I enjoy what I do. I'm always bringing something to the table with an autograph or some tickets or whatever else. And so that's my true passion. The fun part is I'm a third generation auctioneer. My dad and grandfather are both auctioneers. I never went to auction school. I worked for Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers and kind of learned how to do that through bid catching. But that's where my true passion lies. But this liquor business has been fun. And, I took it over a year and a half ago, so I had to get in there and kind of learn about it. And now I really focus on getting into those restaurants and building relationships and understanding that I want a relationship-based company, not a customer-based company. Sure. We're all small boutique. I've got wines they only make 500-600 cases of. So I really can't be in a mass distribution spot where I have to go to all these places because they really don't have that much to give me. So it's been fun learning a new business. I love learning new stuff. I retired from the NHL and went and worked for Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers, some auction company with no equipment knowledge, and end up running the entire Midwest. So I'm not scared to jump in the deep end without a life jacket on and figure something new out.
That's incredible.
Now, if somebody's listening and says, hey, we got some charity events coming up and they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
You can go to my Reed Low 34 Facebook page. You can message me in there and then go and like it and follow. About 2.5 months ago, I started doing Friday night fights with your boy Losey.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I've seen them.
It's good.
And everybody's going nuts over this stuff.
Who did that for you? Because I know you're not that savvy.
I am so not that savvy. I'm so not that savvy.
First one I saw.
The production's great.
Yeah,
It's
I looked
phenomenal.
at it and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm like, you do a great job of describing it, but I'm like, they got him with the jerseys. He's holding an iPad like he actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So I got a guy that I met about 5 months ago. And so this idea, actually, I got to footnote this because this is not my idea. This is Jeff Lavecchio's idea. About 2 years ago, we met out social media. I'm like, how can I do it? Because I'm a complete dunce when it comes to any of that stuff. I can get on stage. I can talk a starving dog off a meat wagon. Like, I can do a whole lot of things. But electronics and details are not my friend. And so Jeff's like, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. I'm like, I'll do it. And so I met this Corey guy. Now he's helping me run my events company and help me with the planning and stuff like that. And then I met Tommy, who's a videographer, and we just got together and we just, again, jumped in the deep end. We had no idea what we were doing. We were up at my buddy Mike Wood's gym to start out, and then we did a couple in my living room. And it's been a busy 3 weeks, so I ran out. So unfortunately, I'm not going to have one tomorrow night because we have an event, and it just got too busy. But we'll pick it back up next week, and it's a lot of fun. I love talking about what it was. I love kind of shooting some stuff at Donnie Brashear like I got to, and but it's good, and it's been unbelievable because the amount of text messages and messages that I've received on how awesome it was, like, makes me feel good that I'm doing something people are enjoying.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. Those videos are great.
What's unique about it that I like is, and trust me, Losey has enough fights where he could just use his own fights forever.
No kidding.
But I like that you use other guys' fights too, and you go in and describe it, because I don't know of many hockey fans that aren't fans of the fights. They can say whatever they want, but behind closed doors, they're firing up that YouTube and they're checking out some fights.
Well, Reed, one of the things that's interesting, like Jamie, I always love telling the story. So when Reed and I were doing radio, way back when you were filling in, throughout the various shows, and a lot of times we'd be paired up together. I looked at Reed one time. I go, Reed, dude, you got to teach me hockey. You got to show me, right? And Reed was generous enough. He goes, come over to the house, all right? Reed's a huge wine guy, as you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Come over to the house, we have some wine, and, the games will be on. I think it was a playoff game. I'm like, awesome, I'm in. So I told Chris, I'm going out. Here we go. I'm going to Reed Lowe's house, going to learn some hockey. I got home, or the next day or whatever, I get home, or I was talking to her the next morning, and she's like, how great was it? How, did you get all these hockey notes? I go, nope, we got hammered. I learned nothing.
I learned more about wine than in hockey last night.
That's a fact. But anyways, back to the fights. So sometimes I'll go to Jamie. I go, Jamie, what are you thinking in a fight? Because I just think, all right, it's boxing. The technique that Jamie's showing me what you can do. That's what I love about it. You guys go into this and you're grabbing the jersey, you're like, Jamie, you're punching the arm, and it's all about leverage. And I love when you're breaking that down. You don't understand how much technique is involved when it comes to fighting.
Losey's one of the best. I don't say that because he's sitting here. I honestly, for a big man in the heavyweight category that he was in, one of the best technical fighters I've ever seen. Left hand, right hand, cross grip, over, under. You were awesome, man. Honestly, your technical side of your fighting was, it exceeded just even how tough you were.
Well, thank you. I worked on it a lot. I watched a lot of video. It was my craft. And another thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I've never been in a bar fight or a street fight ever in my life. And mostly because I'm not a fighter. Like, I didn't like doing it. I did it because it was either that or I wasn't going to have any chance of making the NHL. And so kind of similar to that, my old hockey coach, Al Tour, was so good to me and mentored me so much when I was in the Western Hockey League, which I played 2 years in the Western Hockey League. And I found this out on hockeyfights.com. 73 fights in 123 games.
Damn.
It was animalistic. It was ridiculous.
73.
So yeah, it was crazy. So, but he used to teach me a lot of the techniques. We'd work it out. And then I don't know, man, I just like, it was what I was supposed to do. I was a terrible hitter. I wasn't that great of a skater. I had pretty decent hands for a big guy. I could get around the ice. I really worked hard going into my third year pro hockey on my skating, just because couldn't even get any ice in the American Hockey League. How am I supposed to make the NHL? So I really had to work hard on my skating. I did that, and then, got my opportunity. And my first year in the NHL, I wasn't letting it go. I was in 9 fights in my first 9 games, 17 fights in 26, and ended up having 26 fights in 56 games. So wow. I remember I was in like 7th game, and Joel Quenneville calls me in the game before. He's like, "Are you going to fight every night this year?"
You don't have to fight every game.
I'm like, well, do you want Keith Tkachuk to score a power play goal every single night? Well, if he can, I'm like, well, if I can, like if it's necessary, I'm going to do it every single night. But I was so nervous, and I was just like so amped up before a game, just because I just didn't want to ever feel like I wasn't getting my job done or I was disappointing my teammates. So I would just, for the first 8-10 games, I just went out and hunted somebody on the first shift.
Get it out of the way.
Just get it out of the way. Then I can play hockey. Job's done. Don't have to worry about it again. If something happens, I can come back out 2 in a night's not too many. Done that many times.
Wow.
But I really just felt like I had to get that monkey off my back so that I could just be relaxed and not look over my shoulder.
Well, one thing is that, and I know I could speak for Jamie on this, Reed, you put everything that you've got into what you do, man, and it's always a pleasure to chat with you. I love to hear what you're doing these days. You always got your hand in various things, but it's amazing, man. You give 100%. You guys remind me of each other in that regard. Jamie, you're the same way. It's like
Jamie's just
whatever
as busy
we're doing.
as I am.
It's like whatever I'm doing, man. It's gonna be 1,000%.
He just took on the most ridiculous full-time job ever in the history of the world with everything he's got going on. In fact, I think he trumps me, actually.
Well, when your fourth liners are bubble players, you better be a hard worker.
Reed, always good to see you, man. And we're going to see you Friday night, right?
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah.
You bet, guys.
Perfect time to talk about that. We got our Blues Warriors Awards Gala. We're going to be out broadcasting live 2 to 6, River City Casino and Hotel. Later that evening, you got the inaugural Blues Warriors Awards Gala that's going to be taking place. You can enjoy an evening of dinner, drinks, awards, live auction. Jamie's going to be there. Reed's going to be there. Cam Jansen, Tony Twist, and a lot more. Tickets for Blues Warriors Awards Gala are on sale. 101ESPN.com. It all supports the Blues Warrior hockey. Reed, be good, man. It's good seeing you, brother.
Always, brothers. Love you very much, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. No, it was our pleasure. More of the Fast Lane next on 101 ESPN.
All right, if you're planning a party or you need to pick up a bottle of bourbon, a case of beer, whatever it is, head over to Dirt Cheap, St. Louis's one-stop party shop. They've got tremendous selection, too. You walk in there, and they've got all your favorite wines. They've got all your beers. They've got your vodkas. They've got everything, and they have an unbelievable selection of bourbons. And trust me, I know, bourbon's my thing, and Dirt Cheap has me covered. And they also have a drive-through service, which is awesome. They first just download the app, the Dirt Cheap app. Just download the app. Then you can place your order online, and then you can drive up and get it. That's that easy, and you're always getting great prices, too. So check off your party list, right? You want to walk in and get all the best stuff? Well, they got you covered there. And you want to make it easy? They've got you covered there. And the last thing is the prices are always in a perfect spot for everybody. So please stop by Dirt Cheap. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. Certainly download the app and get busy on there. They always have great savings available. And that's my friends over at Dirt Cheap. And always remember that have fun, but be careful out there.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are taking on the Arizona Coyotes tonight. Pregame starts at 6 o'clock. Puck drop is at 7. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We just talked with former Blue Reed Lowe. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tonight we have Thursday night football between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New Orleans Saints. We're going to talk about that next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Guys, I find tonight's Thursday night football matchup to be intriguing. You got the Jaguars and Saints, and I don't think much of the Saints, although I did think that they were going to win the NFC South. And I wouldn't put it past them. on a short week.
It's wide open.
At home to win tonight against the Jaguars. And that's kind of where I wanted to start with Jacksonville's side of things. Because when you look at Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, they opened up against the Colts. And as we talked about after that game, if you saw the score 31-21, you say, okay, that makes sense. Jaguars went on the road. They score a bunch of points. But the Colts were in that thing. They were in it until midway through the fourth quarter. Then they only score 9 against the Chiefs. They get blown out by the Texans. They make their London trip. They beat the Falcons and Bills and then put it on the Colts last week. This is a game you got to win. This is a game, if you look at it from an AFC contending standpoint, if you're Jacksonville, Jamie, you're Trevor Lawrence. I don't care that he's a little banged up. He's going to play. And if you play, you're open for criticism, or praise for that matter. But even though the circumstances don't necessarily favor you because you're going to be the road team, unfamiliar opponent, with the Saints being in the NFC and all that, still, you want to start to make claim that you're one of the better teams in the AFC. I think it started in London, and it needs to continue because their schedule, Saints, Steelers, then they got the Niners, Titans. You got some winnable games coming up outside of the 49ers.
Well, if you're going to be a first-place team, you have to act like it.
Well said.
And acting like it is winning the games you should win. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously, for me anyways, high expectations. After the season they had last year and pushing to the brink in the playoffs, that was a massive success. And It was a Trevor Lawrence inauguration, basically, because his first year under Urban Meyer, we know how that went. Nobody had a good season that year.
No.
But last year was good for Trevor Lawrence. And this year started off a little weird because at least I expected them to kind of come out kicking and punching, like, let's go. Last year wasn't just an aberration. It was like, that's the real deal. It hasn't been that way. It's been okay. They're 4-2, but still, to your point about the game tonight against the Saints, this is a must win. It should be an automatic win. It should be like thinking, okay, we're 5-2 after tonight.
Right.
And I don't know if they're there yet.
I agree. That's why we're kind of having the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because I pause on that.
I want them to be there. And in my head, I'm like, well, yeah, it's a win. But I'm like, is it?
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence banged up. And I know that you said, well, if you decide to play, you play. Mm-hmm. It could affect his performance. It could actually do sometimes when you get a quarterback that goes out there and plays through something, actually does more harm than good. Because you end up with an offensive package that you've put together for your starter that he either can't fulfill because he's injured, or two, you pull him out because he can't complete it, and then you put in your backup guy, and you got to go with a whole new recipe.
Right.
So it can cause a certain amount of chaos that you don't want. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Trevor Lawrence, to me, has to carry the mail with this team. He is the driving force. Doesn't matter who you have around him. That's the guy. He's the man. Mm-hmm. And, he's been okay so far this year.
I mentioned this before, so I fall into this category, too, in some respects, because I said, look, I think the Saints are going to win this division this year. Yeah, Derek Carr, first time Derek Carr's ever had a defense. We're good to go. Jamie, I've gone back and I've watched these Saints games. Derek Carr is the same exact quarterback that he was in Oakland and Vegas. He's checked down Charlie. He's 353 yards, but only 13 points. He's high completion percentage, but he's throwing short of the sticks. We criticize Kirk Cousins a lot. Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins does have that, there's times where games on the line, it's like, okay, I'll just throw to who's open. Run for 17 yards to get the first, please. Derek Carr's that way, and he's been that way since he entered the league. Yet I feel like we put Derek Carr in a bubble wrap and blame everybody else, coaching, lack of weapons, the Raiders, just overall, offensive line. We've got a list of excuses for Derek Carr. Yet Kirk Cousins, who puts up good numbers and I think wins more consistently, we're ready to fire on. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is strange. And the one other thing I would add to this was that I remember, when Derek Carr went to the Saints, this was supposed to be turnaround time. The Saints are, watch out, now they're going to go.
They got a quarterback again.
They got a quarterback now, and it just hasn't been that way. I feel like, honestly, they've taken steps backwards, even though they've added the quarterback. Because they didn't have the quarterback for a couple of years. They were going with, a lot of different options. Hodgepodge of guys, including a guy that does punt returning and
he does it all.
Blocking and
including quarterback.
Yeah, including quarterback. But that's my point.
Sure.
Is you had those guys, and now you're supposed to have a legit, QB1, so to say, and
nothing has not much has changed. I don't want to say nothing, not much.
Man.
And granted, the offensive line was a concern coming into the year, and the offensive line is still a concern. But when you're watching these games, there are times where the Saints' offensive line is treating Derek Carr like Daniel Jones. He's got no time. But there are other times where he's hitting his back foot, and there might be a player open. He's holding on to the ball.
Yeah.
You're not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow can get away with that. Joe Burrow's got that innate ability to just hang on that one extra second. Yeah, he might take some punishment. Yeah, he might take some more sacks. But he's also going to do it because he's going to throw vertically. Derek Carr's going to haul on the ball and then take a sack or dump the ball off. I mean, there was a play last week where he dumped the ball off to Alvin Kamara on, I think it was either a third or fourth down. They needed 5, dumped it off into the flats, 3 defenders right in front of Kamara. Like, what are we doing? So I just think that when you look at this matchup, this to me feels like a bit of a do or die situation here for the Saints and Derek Carr. Not to say that somebody's going to run away with the division, but you got the Jags on a short week. Why don't you show something? Because you haven't shown that much thus far, the Saints.
Why does Vegas have the Saints favored?
That is where I'm like something doesn't add up. Because the Jaguars are a better team, clearly. They get the better QB. They get the better overall talents. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Right.
That's the one.
Text line was on that too.
That's the one I scratched my head on. This is one of those. If everybody's lined up on one side, go the other way. That's what this type of game is. And everybody's lined up with Jacksonville. I'll leave it at that. It's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Is the Blues' new defensive system impacting their offensive output? Jamie's got some thoughts on that next on 101 ESPN.
we've had plenty of ozone time and chances. I think that, right now we're not hitting on all cylinders with the puck right now from an offensive standpoint, whether it's the shooting part of it, missed the net on some nice grade A's and things like that. It's just some execution things. So that's something that we're working on and trying to improve on. And also, the power play is a big part of offense. You wouldn't know that, but when you get the power play touches in and power play starts to click, your offensive guys gain a lot more confidence. So that's something that we got to get straightened out too.
That was Craig Berube sideswiping Jamie Rivers when he said you wouldn't know about that in terms of offensive play. It's a fast lane.
Apparently, he hasn't read my resume.
It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie, do you think that this new Blues defensive system, is it impacting the offense in an adverse way?
No.
Okay. That's not like the system and the structure could take away opportunities for the offense.
No, I mean, look, does it shave off maybe an opportunity every now and then? Maybe, but you did that last year. You exchanged chances last year with teams, and how did that work out?
Not well,
right? Yeah. So, a couple things we have to remember here is the first game of the year is against a Dallas Stars team that is predicted to be a Stanley Cup contender. Mm-hmm. Their goalie, Jake Ottinger, is projected to be a Vezina Trophy candidate in the discussion. Their defensive core is really good. It's not always easy to generate offense against the other team when they're pretty good. Seattle, it's a fast team. That defensive core is fast. They close out plays, and their goalie, Joey Decourt, stood on his head the other night. Now, there's some instances where the Blues could have capitalized. Of course, and the power play is one of them. I mean, Chief makes an excellent point. Your offensive guys, I call them the cookies, right? They get their cookies on the power play, then they're happy all day. Big fat belly, they're so happy. Get a power play point in the first period, and you're like, "Ooh, this is great."
Set to go the rest of the night.
It's amazing what it does to some of these guys.
Yeah.
We talk about Vladimir Tarasenko a lot. Vladimir Tarasenko was definitely one of those guys. And, back when I played, Pavel Demitra was one of those guys. And, the offensive guys who want to get that point early, the power play is a perfect spot to do it. You get on the score sheet early, and then after that, man, you got a little extra bounce in your step. And you play with more confidence. You're driving a little bit more offense. So, yes, the power play getting going will certainly solve a lot of these things for the Blues. But he's right, too. The execution just hasn't been there. Whether it's missed one-timers or the couple of posts that they've hit, I mean, that stuff is factored in. So I don't think the system itself is slowing down the offense. In fact, I see the defensemen jumping up into the play even more because they're confident in the puck play of the forwards so that nobody gets burned. I just think the Blues were 2 games in. Let's not panic. A little bit of victim of circumstance against 2 pretty good defensive teams. Certainly a really fast team in Seattle. Take away time and space, and your power play hasn't been good.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, I mean, you also have to allow things to work. Sometimes we get so impatient when it comes to, well, fix it, and then, you're talking about this new system, well, it better work. Okay.
Well, how unhappy can we be, too?
Yeah.
Like, you got the defense figured out, but you can't score.
The offense, right.
Nobody said they're going to be putting up 130 points a season for these guys.
No, what you have been saying is it will be balanced. The scoring will be balanced.
Yeah.
I don't know when Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl came to the Blues. You don't have that sort of scoring punch. You do have a really good goal scorer in Jordan Kyrou. You do have good depth offensively when Pavel Buchnevich is healthy and he's out there. Good scoring punch. You kind of know what you're going to get out of Saad and Shen. You've got some scoring ability throughout the course of each line. But I'm with you. I don't think that we're suddenly just going to see this massive drop in scoring because, they're all in on defense now. Yeah. I don't think it works that way.
No, we got a text to the Air Comfort Service text line, which you can jump in at any point during any show. That number's 314-399-9646. It's a lengthy one, but I want to read it and kind of get into it a little bit.
Sure.
From the 314. When they tried this same defensive system under Mike Yeo, the same thing happened where the offense wasn't scoring. So Craig Berube came in and changed it to a man defense, and we know what happened after that. So it's hard to believe that it's not something with this defense as the reason the offense is not scoring. Okay, a couple things here. This is not the same system that Mike Yeo ran. It's just not. And then when Craig Berube came in, I seem to remember a Stanley Cup happening. He changed things. He didn't go with the exact same stuff that Mike Yeo was using. He changed it, and he got way more aggressive. And so, look, the fact that you're playing, watch other teams. Watch the Edmonton Oilers. They're playing a very similar system to the Blues. They are. There's only a couple ways to play defensive zone coverage. I don't know if it's the same in football. There's only a couple of ways you can actually line up, and then what you do from there has uniqueness to it.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, there's only so many versions of cover 4 and cover 2, and there's
exactly.
cover 2 man, there's cover 2 zone. I get you.
So Mike Yeo and his system was literally just everybody sit in the middle of the ice. And if you remember, teams would have puck possession for an extended amount of time. They'd be skating around with it the whole game. And so, you were clogging the middle of the ice, but because you weren't aggressive at all, that's why it was hard to get going on the offensive side. With the Chiefs' defensive system, or the Blues coaching staff defensive system now, they want one guy to be very aggressive, wherever the puck lies in the zone. So we talked about before cutting the defensive zone into 4 squares. Mm-hmm. So whenever the puck comes into your square, boom, you're on it. And boom, the support guy's right there. What we're not doing is having 2 guys go to the same person anymore. Mm-hmm. So the over-aggressiveness of what happened last year, to where 2 defensemen would end up down behind the net and nobody in front, or 2 guys over in the corner and nobody in the scoring area, that's not happening now, because your first guy is being ultra-aggressive. Your second guy there is the support guy, unless there's a loose puck. If there's a loose puck, now he's automatically into action to get the loose puck. If it's just sitting there in a puck battle, he's playing off the pile a little bit. He's reading.
Yeah, where in the square is the support?
So this is going to be, I know that we're on radio, so this is a little more difficult. But if you cut the defensive zone into 4 squares, and then you draw a circle throughout all 4 squares, a big circle.
I got what you're saying.
There's little pieces of pie in every square. The support guy is that guy. That's basically his range.
Got it.
That's where, in worst case scenario, that's where he finds himself. Now, best case scenario is there's a loose puck and there's a battle. And now he can go outside of that circle to go get that loose puck and now turn it on offense. And one thing you'll notice about the Blues this year in particular, as opposed to last year, as soon as they're getting possession of the puck, the net front defenseman is activated up the ice. Get going. Why hang back? Because the guy who gets the puck down low, the forward, he's already playing back. Mm-hmm. So when he moves the puck up the ice, the net front D is joining the attack, and then from there they go up as a wave of 5 once everybody gets on their horse. So that's the defensive system right now. So it's actually put together to get puck control back quicker so that you can play offense quicker. And when it's done the way it's supposed to be done, that's what's supposed to happen. So that's why it's different than what Mike Yeo was playing.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We got our Sports Six-Pack next. So if you got a question for us, 314-399-9646 is the Air Commerce Service text line. Text in. Sports Six-Pack next in the Fast Lane.
time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
It's a Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, and we did have Anthony Stalter.
Yeah. Might be going to the bathroom. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I think he went in to investigate the single bathroom and see what's going on down there, because Jackson from the balloon party, old Sir Piddles himself, and TMA, apparently they were on the defensive today about peeing all over the floor in that one bathroom. Iggy admitted, Anthony, live on the air, that he sits to pee, so it couldn't be him.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. That's a tough
Did he
spot.
say that, or did the text line say that?
No, he said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. Yeah, apparently admitted to Jackson.
that. Yeah,
it's real
He said,
Stalter's choice.
I know it's not me, but I don't really know if I can say this. And Jackson gave him solid advice. Said, hey, if you want to be taken off the list, you got to own it.
do it, yeah. Here's the thing. I wouldn't have blamed a teammate like we did yesterday, but if you remember the whole softball debacle with us in the Rizzuto show, Tim McKernan did not have our backs at all. He had, I believe, Learn and Rafe in here, and he was just all about Learn, Rafe, the Rizzuto show. If he wasn't backing him up, he certainly wasn't backing us up. So
It's disappointing.
it's likely that show, if not Tim himself.
I think we can not necessarily call out teammates, but, we try and keep them accountable, right? That's called
Sure.
being a good teammate. So if we say, hey, this person's peeing all over the floor, maybe next time they won't do it.
You would hope so, Marsh.
Yeah.
You would hope there'd be a little more decorum. Question 1, please.
Apparently there's some mic drop we should be playing. I don't know, Marshy. We got from the 314, play the mic drop, cowards! So I don't know.
Okay. What's the mic drop name that we should be looking for?
I don't know. I don't know. They literally...
I always love that. I always love the text that comes in, or the mic drop, the text that accompanies the mic drop, which is, you won't
Play my mic drop.
You never. You're too afraid. And then Marsh literally just reads off the text, and we don't hear back from these people. In what world do you think we'd be afraid to share your criticisms of us?
As long
We
as
don't
it's radio
care.
safe. And even if it's not, sometimes Marsh will doctor it up so we take out the bad words.
You won't play my mic drop. Okay,
Coward.
watch this. What's the
Cowards.
coward? What's the mic drop? We'll play it.
I don't know.
As long as you're not
what the
cursing
name
in
is.
it.
I don't know the name.
I don't know.
There's no name. There's just
give
a
us
phone
a
number.
heads up.
Let me give you the phone number.
Nice. Cowards. Go ahead, Marsh.
Question number 1.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
All right, from the 314, Jamie, should we be concerned about the Blues' face-off percentages so far?
Well, shouldn't be concerned about that. It's 2 games into the season. And
It's the second game of the season.
third tonight.
It's third game of the season.
But no, I agree. Look, winning faceoffs is important. It's the very first chance you get to possess the puck. And it hasn't been, where you'd like it to be, but I think it'll get there. You got Kevin Hayes, you got Braden Shin, you got Robert Thomas, you got some pretty good guys there.
I would say so.
I'm not concerned at this point about the faceoff percentage. Not yet.
By the way, this is the mic drop. The mic drop is from Steve, who I believe is Steve from Wildwood, who is a frequent listener of TMA and always has good mic drops. So I will find that mic drop and we shall play it.
Okay.
He sent it to Stalter, he says. Oh, Anthony, you're going to get it, man.
Oh, no.
Steve's got you in the crosshairs.
You think I can't handle criticism? I hear criticism every day and night. Bring it on.
That's true, you do. You do.
Yeah, Jamie just can't stop texting you.
Right.
Well, I got to keep him honest.
At this point, it's just numb to it, Right, Mark?
Question number
Absolutely.
2.
To the 636, where is the best section to watch a Blues game and a Cardinals game?
Well, there are two different buildings, so if you sit in the one section, you won't be able to see the Cardinal game.
I've never sat in BT's green seats, but I hear great things about that. I mean, right behind home plate, that's fantastic.
So, our guy Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation, he has season tickets, and his are located about 12, 13 rows from the dugout, the visiting dugout. I will say that was a pretty phenomenal spot to watch a game.
Yeah, those are great.
Stewie let us use the tickets a couple times, and
anything like right behind any of the dugouts, and I'm not even talking about first or second row behind the dugout. I mean, even if you go back a section or two behind the dugouts, those tend to be some pretty good seats.
Yeah. So for Enterprise Center, I've always thought that anytime you can get in one of the corners. And so if you picture the hockey rink, there's four corners, and they have the diagonal sections that kind of go up.
Yeah.
About 20 rows up from the ice in one of those corners. And the reason is that you can see the whole ice. The only spot you lose sight of the puck really is when it's right down in your corner.
Yeah.
But it's still...
You see where the guys
it pops out right away because they got to take it to the net or like whatever.
Right.
Where sometimes where if you sit at one end, you can't see the far end properly. If you sit in the middle, believe it or not, you lose the puck all along the wall on your side, and you can't have a hard time seeing the corners sometimes when you sit in the middle.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So my dad was the one who did this when we were way back when we were kids going to watch junior hockey. He's like, these are the best seats. You see the most of the ice this way. So that would I kind of echo those.
Unfortunately, I sat right where you're talking about for the Patrick Kane goal in the playoffs against Ryan Miller.
Oh, boy.
The one that it was a breakaway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Clean breakaway.
Yeah. I think we were on the power play, actually. Maybe.
Really?
Maybe we weren't.
We were. Yeah, we did have it in the offensive zone.
Which goal?
Obviously. The Kane goal in the playoffs, the eliminator. The year that they got the year that the Blues acquired
named it?
Ryan Miller, the Eliminator.
That was,
you get a piece of it.
That was
you can rename it.
That was the Tays goal.
Oh, it was Jonathan Tays.
Jonathan Tays, yeah, but it was a breakaway.
When the puck went out to center ice and he scooped it up,
and Ryan Miller just stood there.
Everybody in the building were like, "Okay, we can go now," because you knew it. I mean, as soon as that puck landed on his stick and he was going the other way, you had no shot.
I like section 112 at the Enterprise Center. It's right in that corner, like Jamie said. Blues attack twice on that side. Solid section. You always want to sit where the Blues attack twice.
I like that.
Unless you're a Jordan Bennington fan, you like just watching cool saves.
I like defense.
Yeah, you do.
Well said, Anthony.
Thank you.
Question number 3.
Man, we are just firing at a really good rate right now. From the 636, if the Blues still struggle to score tonight, including the power play, do you think Scott Perunovich gets a start on Saturday?
So I was talking about this with a couple people down at the rink, and right now it's difficult to find some ice time for Scott Perunovich because you preach defending all off-season and all preseason, and you have done that. You've fulfilled, what you've said you would do. So if you now decide to get weaker defensively, and this is no shot at Scott Perunovich, he just doesn't have the defensive chops yet in the NHL that the Blues would like him to have. Or guess what? He'd be in the lineup right now. But that being said, if the power play struggles mightily again tonight, if they don't generate scoring opportunities, good solid looks, good shots on net, I could see a world where Craig Berube would go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen on Saturday against the Penguins. That would give Perunovich some opportunity on the power play, maybe a spotted shift here and there against some of the other teams, third or fourth line guys. But at the same time, if it is a close game, you can also, leave him on the bench and go with your top 6 that you've been playing with. So tonight will dictate a lot for the Blues when it comes to who may or may not play based upon power play success.
Question number 4.
Anthony, I think you really like this one. This is from the 618. Did you guys see the video of a couple Eagles players in the front row at the Phillies game the other night? Great stuff.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was DeAndre Swift, and I can't remember who was sitting, beside him. But yeah, they were talking about the game, and I don't know if were they mic'd up. They must have been mic'd up.
Well, they had to have been mic'd up.
I mean, I don't know how else to get that audio. of them.
I mean, unless you've got the ultimate spy mic.
Yeah, they were genuinely funny. Like, they weren't trying to be funny. They were just talking about the game, and it is amazing. Like, they almost had this like little kid awe of the game of baseball as they were talking, which was really cool. And then they were just, Swift called the home run. He goes, "I want to see a home run. It's gonna happen right here."
Schwarber too.
Schwarber hit the first one home.
Yeah,
I told you. And then one of the Phillies players was, they were rounding third, and they're, come on. It was funny. It was good. I watched in the office today. It's fantastic.
Question number 5.
All right, gentlemen. The Jags and the Saints are playing tonight in Thursday night football. Which team has the better opportunity to blow the game tonight?
To blow the game?
Blow the game.
Oh, for me, it's the New Orleans Saints. It's Derek Carr throwing a pick six. Like a pick six in the red zone.
Oh, yeah, that's Derek Carr stuff.
I think
right
it's
there.
Derek Carr, too, but I think it's a more frustrating way, such as you need 8 and he throws it 4. It's one of those deals. Throw to you got one shot at the end zone, and he goes check down Charlie. I think it's that. I don't see Jacksonville. They got good coaching. Doug Peterson knows what he's doing. I don't think they blow it. So the Saints would be the one that I think they would choke in the end.
For sure. Hey, by the way, did you see Jameis Winston last week talking with Alvin Kamara? And everyone was trying to figure out what he was saying.
He was like dancing in front of him.
Yeah, he was like complaining about something, and Kamara was just like, I don't know what to tell you, kind of thing. I wonder if there's any animosity in that locker room right now because of what you bring in Derek Carr. The guy hasn't done anything good.
Right. That's the thing about
maybe
teams.
he was just trying to get him going too. Maybe he was.
Yeah, you never know. That's the thing about teams like that. You make one move thinking you're. We talk about this a lot. You're never one guy away. Mm-hmm. You're never one player away. And I fell for it with the Saints. And it was mostly because it's a bad division. So you look at the teams in the division, you're like, all right, I'll buy into this offseason move. Russ was the same thing a year ago. Russell Wilson goes to Denver, everybody's like, playoff contender. You kind of overlook some of the things that have gone on. Russ has been the same guy he was in his final year with Seattle. Derek Carr has really this season has been the same guy he was in Oakland and Vegas. Same exact dude. Mm-hmm. But it's us who we think that because the variable has changed slightly, that everything's going to be fine now. All right, we got to get to Chris Kerber. Voice of the Blues will join us next here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. We welcome in Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues. You can hear him tonight as the Blues take on the Coyotes pregame right here on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN, starting at 6 o'clock. Kerbs, how are you?
Anthony, doing well today. How are you?
We're both doing good, Kerbs. We're looking forward to hockey being back here, and after a long break, we're looking forward to this Coyotes game. We were talking about, Jamie and I were talking about this Coyotes team. This is one you don't want to overlook with some of the young talent that they have.
Yeah, to me this year about the Coyotes, though, it's not as much about the young talent, and we still have to include a Clayton Keller and his 86, 87 points last year as part of young talent, even though he's in his 8th year in the league. But they brought in some veteran guys this year as well, and it's something that I just believe is so critical to the continued development of an organization. It is so hard to get rid of a losing culture. I mean, you can fracture a winning culture in no time flat. It's not as easy to lose a losing culture. And sometimes to do that, you've got young players that are ready to take the next step. You've got to surround them with some veteran players that can make a difference, help bring that along, and do a better job of showing them how to be pros. And so I think it's as well-rounded of an Arizona Coyotes team as we've seen in a long time. And that's even – and listen, last year they absolutely fed it to the Blues in terms of goals against. So I'm curious how this game plays out tonight.
Kurt's talking about young players, development, and certainly the game tonight. Joel Hofer gets his first start of the season. What can we expect from the big boy?
Well, if you remember when he came in and played those, I think it was, 5 games last year, it was he was just very solid. Some people have described him to me as, Jordan Bennington, just bigger, and taller. So I think you're looking for a guy that can play the puck really well, which is real good. That's an aspect of the 2 goaltenders last year versus this year that is such a big difference. If you watch Jordan Bennington play, Jamie, and the puck gets dumped in, having been in a defenseman, when our defensemen don't have to go behind the net to get the puck because they know the goalie's got it, and the defensemen only have to go to the bottom of the circles or maybe where the goalie meets the boards, one, that saves a ton of skating, but 2, it just makes getting out of your zone that much easier. This year, unlike last year, the Blues have 2 goalies that can play the puck. So I think from a defensive standpoint, it's actually going to be an easier transition for the Blues defenseman to have Hofer in net because they know he can play the puck. So I'd expect him to be excited and getting in there again. His first game of this year, his first game, and his first game now up with the big club full time, and I'm excited to see how he does as well. But I'm looking for athleticism and puck-playing ability to help the team out.
Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, joins us right now on 101 ESPN. Kerbs, we had this conversation earlier as well, the Blues' new defensive system. Do you think there's any issue with the early returns being good for the defensive system, but do you think it's taken away at all from their offensive output?
I actually think it might be a little too early to tell because I think it was clear that what I've seen in practice is it's clear that they wanted to focus on that side of the puck in their own zone, and that was a major focus. And then in practices, you're seeing a lot of battle drills both for the forwards to get out of the corner to the net and for the defensemen to defend, that better. So I think it's too early for me to see if one it really impacts the other yet. For example, I know the power play, which is a pretty hot button topic and justifiably so. You only have 2 shots on goal, but you have 6 shots that miss the net. I think if the Blues had a couple of their chances that they've missed the net actually put them on net, they'd probably go in, and we might not be talking about that as much, right? So I still think maybe we give that another handful of games before we think that there's a correlation from one to the next. But when I did talk to Craig Berube today, one of the keys he said to this game tonight against the Coyotes is play the puck below their goal line. Get the puck below their goal line and play with it back there, forcing their speed to have to stand around and forcing their team to defend in their own zone versus speed through the neutral zone the other way.
Kerbs, with the absence of Pavel Buchnevich, hopefully not long term, Alexei Toropchenko elevated in the lineup. Young Nikita Alexandrov gets in there. What kind of an impact do you think Toropchenko can have playing alongside Braden Shen and Kasperi Kapanen?
Well, he's going to bring some speed and he's going to bring some physicality. And I think Craig Berube is looking for that size to help hold on to the puck in that offensive zone. Much like, we were just talking about play the puck below the Arizona goal line, right? His ability with some speed to close the gap a little bit, I think, is going to be important. Then if there's a turnover, he's got the ability, and we saw it in the last game. He back-checked and broke up a 2-on-1 really, really well with a great stick. So to me, I think it's that element of his game that is intriguing for Craig Berube on that line against this opponent.
Kerbs, I know it's early, but what's one player, one facet of the game that you have found interesting thus far?
Well, I'll take three things for you real quick. First off, I like the way Jordan Kyrou has played these first two games, and I especially liked both ends of the ice for him in the last game. I think that's encouraging, and it's not a shocker that good defense leads to some offense, and that led to a goal by that line. I like what I've seen with Colton Parayko, his stick. He leads the team in block shots. He's got the third most block shots in the organization since they started tracking that stat. So, and that's behind, I think it's Barrett Jackman and Alex Pietrangelo. But I like his game, and I like this defensive system for him. And I think you really got to be excited about the goaltending right now, which if people listen to me and Jamie probably long enough, they know it's not a surprise to us. But I think you've got to be really happy with what you've seen, because this defensive system that you're playing, you are going to give up more shots on goal, but it's going to be from the outside, which should not be a problem for the goaltender if you're boxing out the way you should. Those are the three, I think, really upbeat things that I've seen so far.
Curse, Colton Parayko, a bit of a lightning rod last year amongst some Blues fans. Having a really good start to his season. His minutes are up there. He looks confident. What else are you seeing from Colton Parayko that maybe wasn't quite there consistently last year?
Look, Jamie, I realize that all the defensemen last year would look at you and say they could have been better. Our forwards were so bad last season. It just... The problem with our defense last year was primarily not our defensemen. It was they were left out to dry by the forwards so doggone much, more times than not, that it exacerbated the D-men. I don't have major problems with, frankly, most of the defensemen from last season like a lot of people did. I had thought, look, and if you're going to have an off year, they all had it together maybe. But this season, what you're seeing from Colton, to me, one of the biggest differences, and I love his skating. To me, if Colton Parayko's on his game early on in a game, if he's skating the puck, if he gets that puck, he can skate out of trouble. He can skate out of trouble against any player in the league, and that includes the Crosbys, the Ovechkins, the McDavids, the Kellers. It includes them all. He gets that puck and skates with his body, his reach. He can get out of trouble, and that is a big thing for him. The other thing you've seen is they talked to Colton Parayko, Jamie, about being frankly being more aggressive, and I think we've seen more aggressive. I think people look. Colton Parayko's always had that eye on him because I think people see the size, they see that skating, they think Pronger, they think nastiness. That ain't the case. It's not this player. But his aggressiveness along the board, some of the body checks he's throwing, like, here's a joke. He threw 2 great body checks in that Dallas game, and their off-ice officials didn't credit him for either head. I have no idea why. So I think his skating and his physicality has been very evident early on.
Kerbs, good stuff. We'll listen to you tonight for the pregame and, of course, the play-by-play as the Blues host the Coyotes. Thanks, man.
Yeah, we'll have some fun tonight. Thanks, guys.
No doubt. That's Chris Kerber again, the voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. All right, time for our Blues ticket giveaway. We have your chance to win a pair of tickets to see your St. Louis Blues take on the Pittsburgh Penguins this Saturday, October 21st at Enterprise Center. As you know, hockey season, it's back. It's in full swing now. Grab your tickets for an upcoming Blues home game now at stlouisblues.com/tickets, or listen to the trivia question we're about to throw out to you and then text into the Air Comfort Service text line, because if you're the 101st texter with the correct answer at 314-399-9646, you're going to win a pair of tickets for that Blues and Penguins game. So here's your trivia question.
All right, we're going right back to Kerbs. Just a couple minutes ago, he talked about the top 3 shot blockers in Blues franchise history. Colton Parayko on that list at number 3. Number 2 is Barrett Jackman. Who's the third guy that Kerbs talked about as one of the shot blocking gods in Blues history?
There you have it. Again, if you have the correct answer, text in 314-399-9646, the Air Comfort Service text line. You'll get a chance to see those Penguins, or your Blues take on the Penguins, I should say. The Michigan Wolverines, the football team, accused of sign stealing.
What?
How big of a deal is this? That's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We just talked with Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, right here on the Blues Radio Network. The Blues taking on the Coyotes tonight. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. If you missed that interview with Kerbs or our interview earlier in the show with former Blue Reed Lowe, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. You can find all of our interviews there and the full show. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Astros defeated the Rangers yesterday 8-5. The Rangers still lead that series 2-1. The Phillies lead the Diamondbacks in the NLCS 2-0. The Diamondbacks looking for their first win of the series tonight. Also Thursday night football, it's the Jags taking on the Saints. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
So apparently the University of Michigan has been cheating.
What?
Or at least that is the allegation.
That's an allegation. It's a very serious one, too, Anthony.
Certainly.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh, this guy's a rules follower, you know? I mean, he hasn't been in trouble at all recently. What?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
A little bit. Bought some kid a burger, and the NCAA was all over him. Had him sit out the first 3 games of the season.
What?
Yeah. So this is what's going on. The NCAA is investigating the number 2 Michigan Wolverines football program amid allegations of sign stealing, the school announced Thursday.
Like what's kind of like stop signs?
No. Like this would be like offensive or defensive sign stealing.
The Astros are in the building.
The Astros are in the building. The athletic director for Michigan said, I want to personally assure you that UM Athletics will offer its complete cooperation to the NCAA in this manner. At the University of Michigan, all of us are committed to the highest standards of ethics and blah, 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 blah. My question is this a big deal? Is this a big story? According to Yahoo Sports, Michigan allegedly had people attending games of future opponents as well as possible college football playoff opponents to gather information on signs used to call plays on offense and defense.
So what proof could you have of that, right? Because when I think of this, I think, okay, so they're scouting games of potential opponents or future opponents.
Right.
There's nothing irregular about that.
Yeah.
And as far as stealing signs are concerned, you know, how can you prove it? How can you prove it?
Right.
Like, unless you have some kind of digital trail of text messages and pictures and emails and things like that and video.
Even if you did.
Yeah, but well, I mean, if you had descriptive, like, hey, by the way, this sign here or this signal here means they're going to do a sweep to the right. Well, that kind of stacks the deck in your favor.
It does, but how do they know that, though?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think you and I are on the same page here, Jamie.
And who cares?
How did you gather the information? That is my question. How did you gather it?
Yeah.
Did you sneak through the vents of future opponents? Like, did you go through Maryland's vents and then, you know, Tom Cruise Mission Impossible style, hang from the rafters to get their game plans? Because if you didn't do that and you merely sat in your seat and looked at the defensive signals or offensive signals that were being relayed from the sidelines, what's stopping any fan from doing that? If you're that good at cracking codes, or if you're that lazy when it comes to your sign stealing, or you're using your signs, I should say.
And
I don't know why I just did this.
Because
I was drumming.
You're giving me a sign.
Yeah.
Of like jazz fingers. Anyways, who's to say that the opponents that they play don't give you the information?
Well, that's a dirty little secret in college football, too.
Like, if I'm, let's just say, I don't know, I'm Alabama, and I just played Ohio State. And Michigan plays Ohio State next week. That'll be quite the schedule for Ohio State. I get it, okay? However, walk with me on this,
I got
okay?
you. Yeah.
And if I don't like Ohio State or whatever, I could call up Jim Harbaugh and say, hey, by the way, we caught on a few signals, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if they call this or this goes up, this is a running play. Like, that's been going on forever in every sport. There's certain teams that help you out. There's certain teams that'll tell you to go chase yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the line now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
College football, that's why I said it's kind of the dirty little secret. College football, this isn't necessarily well known, but if you listen to former coaches or you listen to people that are connected within the game, college football and some of the top programs, allegedly there's a lot of sign stealing that's going on.
Yeah.
So again, to me, and we see this in baseball a lot too. And what do we say in baseball? Hey, protect your signals. Do a better job of protecting your signals. We literally saw a closer, Craig Kimbrell, drop the ball as soon as somebody was over behind him at second base. Intentional. It was basically an intentional balk to move the runner over to third so that there was no shot of stealing the signs. That's how far he went to protect signs.
Yeah. Now, if you're putting, like Marshy had this argument in the office about it. He said if you're putting a camera in center field and you're zooming in and you're cheating that way.
That's different.
That's different.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. So if Michigan has a camera that's their own camera that's isolated to the bench.
Yeah. Like the Patriots did
the
to the Jets.
sidelines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing from stopping the Patriots or whomever to have a guy with binoculars that's staring at the thing the whole time, and by the second half, he's figured out the cheat code.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then what?
Yeah.
Change your signs.
Yep.
You should probably have different signals for each half, let alone game to game.
Sure. If it's Spygate, that's different. You got the Patriots.
Oh, they had nothing wrong, Anthony.
Well, Jamie.
You know what? They were filming a segment, and the Rams just happened to be in the background.
Well, that was that was a different thing. These are the Jets.
Oh, nobody cares about the Jets.
Okay.
See?
If you just look, you can cheat. Just do it to the Jets.
Yeah, just pick an opponent nobody likes, and nobody cares.
Jets, Browns, fine. We won't bat an eye. You do that against one of the teams we like? I don't think so. Yeah. So I mean, Jamie, I don't know. Maybe we're making we're too light on this. We're making too light of this. But again, how are you acquiring the signals? That matters to me more than what like anything else. If you're deliberately going out of your way, breaking in, you got some spy within Big Ten opponents, like you got a spy in each building, that's different. If you're sitting in the seat and you're scouting and you're looking at the signs and you're able to crack the code, change your codes then.
Yeah, I totally.
Or change your signs.
Text line's agreeing with us too. Most people in the text line are talking about just if they're stealing your signs, do a better job of hiding it, or change your signs or your signals, whatever.
Totally.
So,
all right. We've got Jamie's keys to the game. Plus, we got a mic drop, right, Marsh? Very important mic drop.
Oh, yeah, from Steve.
From Steve-O. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Gentlemen, are you currently using ED meds? If so, you're probably paying too much, unless you're going to the medicine shop in St. Charles. That's where they've got the cheapest ones for you. They've got sildenafil for less than $2 a pill, and prescription is required. But, gentlemen, you're not going to find it cheaper anywhere else. I'll tell you that right now. They also have free discreet shipping and delivery to your home or your workplace of any regular medicines that you require. So for me, busy schedule tonight. I'm leaving the radio station, got to get down to the Blues game. I don't have time to get by the pharmacy. If I have any medicines to pick up, they come to me. That's right. The medicine shop in St. Charles takes care of it. And I absolutely love that feature. I love the people over there, too. The service is fantastic. They've got a full pharmacy with representatives that are ready to help you out, answer your questions, point you in the right direction, whatever it is. They're just awesome over at there at the Medicine Shop in St. Charles. So please stop by, tell them I sent you in, and also you can visit them online if you have to at stcharles.pharmacy. Again, that's stcharles.pharmacy.
Time to get into Jamie's keys of the game for tonight. Blues and Coyotes. Jamie's got his half a suit ready to go here. He's ready to head down to the Enterprise Center. BT is going to join us from 4 to 6, so looking forward to that. But Jamie, before we bid you adieu, why don't you get into some keys of the game?
All right, so when we break down things here, playing against the Coyotes tonight, divisional opponent, puck possession, or puck management, rather, is my first one. And it's just a fancy way to describe what you do with the puck. Don't throw it away, basically.
Where are we?
Exactly. So, no, puck management is always a key to, almost every game. And you'll hear me say it a lot because, where you put the puck gives you a chance to either recover it, advance the play, or the play dies because you have terrible puck management. And one thing that hurt the Blues last year a lot was puck management at the lines. We talk about Jordan Kyrou having a rough year defensively last year. Some of it wasn't even defense. Some of it was just puck management. So rather than chipping it out along the wall, which would be the 100% guaranteed play, we try something a little more fancy, and it wouldn't work. And then you're stuck in your own end, and eventually it either leads to a goal in the immediate, or you get tired and the players wear down, and then later on it rears its ugly head because you've got tired guys on the ice, whether it's a power play that you give up or a scoring opportunity. So puck management is important. What I want to see the Blues do tonight, as far as that is concerned, is advance the puck behind the Coyotes defensemen. They are not blessed with a very deep defensive core. And so the more you can get them to turn and go chase pucks, or you getting ahead of it and retrieve pucks sooner, means you're playing offense in the offensive zone quicker. You're forcing them to defend, which they're not great at. And right now, you need that offense. You need to start generating some offense. So tonight, managing the puck at all the lines, but specifically to get the puck behind the Coyotes defenseman, is my first key to the game. Second one is puck possession. I know they're distant relatives, but they're not the same. And puck possession is that style of play in the offensive zone that we've talked about for 2-3 years now under Craig Berube, is that cycling the puck down low. Not necessarily the quality over quantity when it comes to shots, but making sure you have the puck for an extended period of time. Now, getting a chance off the rush is nice every now and then, but if you don't score off the rush, odds are you're back to defending immediately. So tonight, puck possession will be huge. And why is that? Well, because we just talked about the Coyotes defensemen, and defensively, they're not that great. So if you possess the puck longer in the offensive zone, you're forcing them to play
Defense.
That's right, which they're not great at. So don't give the puck back to them. Don't make their life easy. Possess the puck, work it down low. You've got some big bodies in the lineup tonight. You've got Hayes, you've got Shen, you've got Sundqvist, you've got Toropchenko. You've got some guys that can flat out just keep the puck out there and you can't get it away from them. So play it that way. Play good, smart hockey, keep the puck down low, and force the Coyotes to defend. That's key number 2. Number 3 on my list here is defense. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, as a whole team, not just the defensive core.
Yeah.
Defensively, do a really good job of taking away the middle of the ice. Player recognition, too. Realize who's on the ice. Take inventory, as I say a lot of times. I used to do it because I was worried about someone taking my head off. So take inventory about who the guy coming over the boards is to kill you.
Yeah.
Well, in this circumstance, it's more about Clayton Keller. It's more about Logan Cooley. It's more about Nick Schmaltz. These guys can flat out hurt you offensively. So if you're out there and you don't know who's on the ice, that's a problem. Know who's on the ice, take away the middle of the ice, defend well. Colton Parayko has been fantastic so far this season with as far as his angles, his gap management, standing guys up at the blue line. I would expect to see a lot of Colton Parayko against Clayton Keller tonight. Clayton Keller is a very gifted player. I mean, highly skilled, but not blessed with the most speed. So that's a recipe for success for Colton Parayko in a lot of ways because he is blessed with speed, size, and reach. So hopefully he can be a thorn in the side of someone like Clayton Keller tonight. My last one, this one's pretty obvious. Get the power play going.
So I say score goals.
Yeah, score a goal on the power play. Get some looks out there. You may have to dumb it down for more success. And all that means is instead of worrying about clean zone entries every time where you skate into the opponent's defensive zone with possession of the puck and you set up and it's just beautiful. It may have to be ugly. You may have to chip it behind the defenseman and go get it. And then work your tail off to get the puck from low to high, change puck side, spread out that defensive unit out there so that you can create some passing lanes and some shooting lanes. I do want the power play to be predictable tonight. So we talk about the 1-pass, 2-pass shot.
Yeah.
Let's get there. But let's make them really good passes. Tape to tape, shot on net, that net front presence. Get an ugly one early, build up the confidence. So those are my 4 keys to the game.
All right, Jamie, real quick. You don't have to play the sounder, Marsh, but it reminded me with what we're about to do here. The Braves, not the Braves, they were eliminated. The Phillies and Diamondbacks.
Well, you can take those guys.
You can take those guys. Go ahead. You pick a Diamondback, pick a Philly.
I'm going to take...
pick your first one. How about that? And then I'll...
I'm the absolute fool not to take Schwarber. I'll take Schwarber.
All right, so
We got 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take... I'm going to go back to the wall. Give me Bryce Harper. And give me Christian Walker tonight for the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
So Harper will be my Philly. Walker will be my Diamondback?
I'm going Tommy Pham.
Okay, all right. He's hitting 5th tonight, right after Walker.
Yeah.
So hopefully Walker pops one. And
Yeah,
then,
hopefully not. All right.
of course, Schwarber can lead off the game with a home run.
That's what I'm thinking, baby.
And then Jamie wins, and that's it. Okay, now.
Yeah. That scared me.
Let's go, boys.
We need you to score more goals. Get those loose pucks.
Thomas to Kyrou. Score! Goal!
No big deal. Game winner.
I love not only Chief is in there, but Roy Kent made an appearance as well. Need you to score more goals. All right. So we're going to do the similar thing with the home runs. Who scores the first goal tonight?
First Blues goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
First Blues goal. So Marsh, why don't you go ahead and kick things off here?
I'm going to go with Oscar Sundqvist.
Ooh.
Oscar Sundqvist is
right.
off the board. Jamie.
No, Anthony, you go ahead.
I'll go Jordan Kyrou.
Oh, really going off the
I'll
board
take
on
the
that one,
chalk.
are you? All
Take the
right.
chalk with Kyrou.
So Kyrou for Anthony Stalter. Here's where I'm going with it, guys. I'll tell you why. I'm going Braden Shen on this one. Why? Because you've got an extremely motivated Alexei Toropchenko that's going to get in there. He's going to cause a lot of havoc, a lot of damage. He's going to create a loose puck, and Braden Shen's going to be able to put that thing home, baby.
There you go.
Captain. First goal tonight.
Okay. Now, over the last 2 days, there's been a little bit of a kerfuffle.
What?
Among shows. I honestly, I feel as though that I was almost dragged into this one. I didn't know what was going on. No. When did this even start, Marsh? You're going to have to provide a little backstory before we play this mic drop.
I guess it was yesterday. Was it yesterday that we got the text about someone peeing on the floor? Or was that 2 days ago?
Yeah, I think wasn't the Riz show complaining about the small bathroom here? It's the individual.
Yes.
We'll call it the executive bathroom because we have a regular bathroom, and then we've got like a small executive bathroom with just one toilet here at the studios. And the Riz show is complaining about somebody, I guess, peeing on the floor or making a mess or something.
That is what I have gathered from our text line.
And then the Riz show, I believe, blamed TMA.
Yes.
Because they're right there. That studio is right there where they do their show. It's right next to the bathroom. So somebody brought it to us, and then we said, "Yeah, that sounds about right. It's probably TMA." And then we've got Steve, who left us a mic drop, and he called us cowards for not playing it. Well, here you go, Steve.
I mean, I get it. We're kind of in between seasons here. Not really much to talk about. Stop it! You three idiots are talking about somebody peed on the floor. Why don't you do this? Why don't the three of you stand down on Clark Avenue and I'll splash the piss water from my pool on you? Get your asses over to the stadium and find out why we haven't signed anybody or traded for anybody or added anybody to this last place Cardinals team. And Rivers, get your ass over to the locker room and tell these we want a Stanley Cup and we want it now. Thank you and good night. Tired of it.
Well, I hope there's medical experts nearby.
Yeah. Somebody's got to check on.
Wow.
Just the mental health. Yeah, well, mental health, too, I think needs to be kind of
I think that was
thrown in there.
Well, a couple things, Steve. One, thank you for the screaming mic drop. It's always a pleasure to get those. But, Anthony, you can correct me if I'm wrong, of course.
Yeah, is it the Cardinals thing?
The Cardinals haven't been able to, do anything yet because they're not allowed to.
Yeah, season's not over.
That didn't stop Michigan from doing what they did.
Yeah,
well, this is during the season, at least.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
A little different than transactions. But,
right.
I mean, I like Steve's passion.
So do I.
He should maybe not let the facts get in the way of his thoughts, but, you know.
Yeah. And I don't like that there's pea water in his pool.
Well, we've talked about the pea pool before.
Yeah, it's Anthony's
I wonder if it's the
favorite
same one.
Yeah. I think Steve was alluding to the people segment we had a little while ago about the Cardinals.
Sure.
So with that, I respect it.
Well, thanks for listening.
It's a reference to
good call.
post show. Really, I don't have a problem with what Steve said. I really don't want to be splashed with pee. I'd have a little bit of an issue with that.
Yeah, samesies on that.
But I just hope he's okay. You know, his blood pressure a little high there.
Yeah. All right, Jamie, get out of here. We'll see you, buddy.
Jamie, get down to the locker room and get us a Stanley Cup.
That part, I think, holds water. Not pea water.
No.
Regular water.
Lots of it.
Yeah. See you, buddy.
Well, thank you.
We'll be watching you, Valley Sports Midwest, while listening right here to 101 ESPN, the Blues Radio Network. It's Fast Lane. Brad Thompson joins us for the last 2 hours of the show, and we got the Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Thursday night football in the NFL, Anthony, and nobody does more with Thursday night football than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, all customers, not just new customers, all customers can get in on the no-sweat same-game parlay for tonight's game, the Thursday night game specifically. Just place a 3-leg same-game parlay on this week's game between the Jaguars and the Saints. And what happens is you get bonus bets back if you don't win.
Yeah, that's right. Jamie, NFL same-game parlay is the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at an even bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast so you don't miss out on your chance to get a no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. It's FanDuel. They're an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Check out the Jaguars and Saints tonight. Maybe you line up with the Jaguars. You take some of the Travis Etienne. You could put him in some of your plays. Trevor Lawrence. Build your own same-game parlay again at FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
21 and over, present in Illinois. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
4:03, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. With Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter, and our guy BT is joining us for the final 2 hours of the show today. What's up, BT?
What's going on, Anthony? Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, same to you. You ready to rock, man?
No, I forget how to play this game. So let's see what happens here.
Well, if you get chosen, BT, then this will be your first time back, and maybe you're the one to choose today. We'll find out. Marsh, who do we have today?
Today we have Ryan joining us in the Gauntlet.
All right, Ryan, how are you?
Pretty good, sir. How are you?
We're doing great. Would you like to take on Brad Thompson, Andrew Marsh, or me today in the Gauntlet?
I'll let him shake the dust off. I'll take on BT today.
All right.
Perfect.
BT.
It's go time already. All right, so I guess I'm going to lay the headset down. I'm going to stand way across my basement. You guys want to call me or text me when it's go time?
BT, I will text you
okay.
when it's time to come back. How about that? I'll get my phone up right here. All right, cool.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys in a bit. Best of luck.
Sounds good. So BT's going to go in his makeshift cone of silence. Ryan, you're going to tell Marsh to spin the wheel to find out what category you get today. Go ahead.
All right, Marsh, spin that wheel.
What category are you hoping for?
Random.
Hoping for random. The wheel has loved random, and it continues to love random. It nailed random for you. So congratulations there, Ryan. You got random today.
How it goes. How it goes.
So Marsh is going to get the launch codes out here for us. Perfect. I'll remind everybody, 4 questions, same 4 questions to both BT and to Ryan today. Each question is worth 2 points unless Ryan or BT ask for the options. If they do and they get the question right, that question is worth 1 point instead of 2. Ryan, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, question 1. What is the name of the purple McDonald's character? What is the name? There you go. I'll say for our generation, it's probably a layup.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right. Question number 2. The U.S. Naval Academy is located in which city?
Annapolis.
Final answer?
Final answer. Yes, sir.
All right, Ryan. Santiago is the capital of which South American country? Santiago is the capital of which South American country?
I'm sorry, you up there. Could you repeat, please?
Sure. Santiago is the capital of which South American country?
I'll take the options.
Is it Uruguay, Chile, or Paraguay? Paraguay, excuse me, Paraguay.
My first thought was Chile, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Final answer.
Final question for you, Ryan. At what temperature in Celsius does water boil?
Options, please.
Options are 50 degrees, 75 degrees, 100 degrees.
100 degrees. Final answer.
All right. I will text BT right now to come back. Come back.
How you feeling, Ryan?
Okay. Okay.
All right. Hey, that's honest.
All, yeah.
Yeah.
We love it.
So we just sent BT the text message here. We're looking at his
here
home.
He comes.
His home in beautiful Illinois. BT, you got us?
I got you. I am back. My basement is a wreck. My kids are grounded.
Hey, you know what, BT? If you see our basement, yours looks fantastic. Trust me. I went down there the other day. I'm like, well, this won't do. I think every toy they took out and just scattered it everywhere.
Did you find a snake again?
No. No snake this time. I'm sure he's down there, though.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Brad, are you ready?
I'm always ready, Anthony.
You have random today. The wheel spun random.
Oh, that's better than hockey. I'll tell you that right now. That's way better.
Here we go. Question number 1. What is the name of the purple McDonald's character?
Oh, Grimace. Of course. I had a teammate. He'll be remain nameless. His nickname was Grimace. He was just dumpy and miserable. I don't think he knows what his nickname is, actually. Come to think of it, we called him that behind his back. But okay. Yeah, Grimace.
Fair enough. So, you final answer on that?
That is a final answer.
Okay.
All right, BT. Question number 2. The U.S. Naval Academy is located in which city?
Yeah, no, everybody should know that. That's kind of very important. U.S. Naval Academy. I'm thinking Virginia, Norfolk. Give me the options just in case.
Options are Albany, Annapolis, Augusta.
Annapolis.
Final answer?
Yeah, final answer.
All right, BT, question 3. Santiago is the capital of which South American country?
Oh, boy. I'm thinking Chile right off the top of my head. Santiago, Chile. That sounds right. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Chile or Chile or Chile. Probably got one of those little accent things somewhere too. But I'm going to go with that final answer.
All right.
Question number 4. At what temperature in Celsius does water boil?
Celsius? 100.
Final answer?
Yeah, I'll try that.
Okay. Let's go over these. At what temperature is Celsius? At what temperature in Celsius does water boil? Ryan, you said 100 degrees. BT, you said 100 degrees. Correct answer is?
It is 100 degrees.
It is 100 degrees. BT did not need the options, though, so BT's got a 2-1 lead over Ryan. Santiago is the capital of which South American country? Ryan, you said Chile. BT, you said Chile. Correct answer is?
It is Chile.
BT did not need the options again, so he's got a 4-2 lead over Ryan. The U.S. Naval Academy is located in which city? Ryan, you went Annapolis. BT, you went Annapolis. Correct answer is?
It is Annapolis.
Ryan was the one that did not need the options for this, though. So BT...
Model American right there.
There you go. That's a hell of a model American. BT has got a 4 lead over Ryan. What is the name of the Purple McDonald's character? Ryan, you went Grimace. BT, you went Grimace. Correct answer is?
It is Grimace.
Neither of you needed the options. Ryan.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
Ryan, I got to tell you, I don't know many that score 6, get all the questions right, and still lose. But BT, by virtue of those last 2, Chile and 100 degrees, not needing the options, those are the two that put them over the top. BT gets you 7-6 today. Sorry, man.
That was a hell of a performance, BT, so congratulations.
Ryan, I got to tell you what, if you were trying to bump up my confidence for the rest of this show, you nailed it. Now I'm riding sky high. I'm feeling pretty good, man. Thank you for playing.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Nice job, BT. There was no dust. There was no dust to knock off.
Oddly enough, Anthony, all I do now is trivia and crossword puzzles. I'm pretty bored, so that's kind of my niche now, if you will.
I like that.
I don't know how that worked out quite well.
No, it's it. Yeah, nice job, man. And Ryan was on his game too. 6 points, but BT got it 7. So there you go. We had a very entertaining start to the final 2 hours of the show. We're going to get into Cardinals baseball. We're going to get into some fun games. Hot take or hot garbage we'll play. I think at one point maybe we'll do an NFL fill in the blank. BT is one of the quickest on the draws that we know, so that the NFL fill in the blank is right up his alley. So we'll do a lot of that. But I did want to get into this with BT. So we saw, at least from a Vegas standpoint, a lot of upsets thus far in Major League Baseball, besides just the randomness of baseball. Why is that? Upsets galore. Why? We'll get into that next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Well, you may not have looked at the Rangers beating the Rays as an upset, but from a Vegas standpoint, it was. Same thing with the Rangers over the Orioles. The Diamondbacks certainly were heavy underdogs against the Dodgers and even the Brewers. And the Braves were Vegas favorites to win that series against the Phillies, although, again, many of you may not have considered that a huge upset. With Brad Thompson, I'm Anthony Stalter. BT, besides just the playoff randomness, because that we all see that in baseball. There's baseball's a random sport as it is. When you get in the postseason, shorter series, that randomness really comes into play. Do you see any other reason why we have had the upsets that we have had thus far in Major League Baseball?
I mean, not really, Anthony. We talked about this last week of the fact that there really aren't teams that, in my opinion, are quote-unquote built for the postseason, right? You got to be able to get there, and then you have to be able to catch the breaks. Now, if you're looking for trends, well, power has been a trend, right? If you're hitting home runs, the teams that out-homer the opposition are 17-3 in the postseason. Like, that is a trend, and that is one where Arizona is getting out-homered at a pretty high clip right now by the Phillies. Don't know if they're going to be able to catch up. Actually, I'm positive they will not be able to catch up. I feel pretty confident in that one, in that series. Look, teams that, again, trends, right? You're a Vegas trends guy, Anthony. Teams that score first are 20-7 so far in the postseason. So, like, those things are, like, stand out to you a little bit, but they're all just random things. Look, I feel like, well, right now, out of all the teams that are, out of the 4 teams that are left, would it shock you if any of them won the World Series? I think the answer probably is yes, and it's the Diamondbacks at this point.
Outside of that, no.
Would be the one.
No, because Houston's been there, done that. Texas is certainly good enough, and I think we've all kind of have come alive watching the Phillies. Like, oh wow, this is the team to beat right now.
Dude, they're a lot of fun to watch, and I know that their fans have been getting a lot of great praise, rightfully so. That place has been rocking over there. I'm sure they're all saying nice stuff to the opposition too. They always do that, so that's always good news over there. But so the Arizona is the team that is the shocker right here for everybody. And when you look at it on paper and you look at last series that they knocked out the Dodgers, you say, man, that is really surprising. Well, when you look at how it happened and you look at them, you look at a blow up in the postseason from Kershaw. He only lasts a third of an inning. And then you look at Bobby Miller, their rookie, who lasts only an inning and 2/3. When you get 2 innings out of your 2 first starting pitchers, you're not going to win that series. Like, it's just not going to happen for you, Anthony. So, look, I don't think that there's much more than the randomness of baseball. I think you have to be a complete team. I think that you have to have great leadership. But all these teams have all of those things, especially the 3 that you believe can win. I don't know, when you're looking at it right now, is there something that pops out to you specifically about what we've seen and why we've seen it?
The home runs, which you covered. The home runs have really stood out. So the teams that are popping the ball out of the yard consistently are winning right now in the postseason. I think the other thing that is, and quite frankly, this is always held up, and you know this, but it's the pitching. If you look at the Dodgers, for example, the Dodgers came into the playoffs. Clayton Kershaw had a 2.23 ERA, which is okay. That's great, right? You dive into the advanced metrics. How about a 5.4 FIP?
That's not great, Anthony.
No. So it's measured. So it's a different form where you're looking at just the pitcher and you're adjusting for the ballpark and all that. But it's read just like an ERA. So if I told you Kershaw's ERA was 5.40, are you that surprised that he struggled? Probably not.
No.
So if you think about that,
he's a bum. Actually, I don't know why you're paying that kind of money for 5.4 ERA.
He's a total bum. Excuse me. You got me on that one. Bobby Miller. Strong form, rookie, no playoff experience, right? And then you got Lance Lynn, and we all love Lance Lynn. We love that bulldog mentality. We love what he did for the Cardinals. I think a lot of people would have loved to see him continue his career in St. Louis. He led the majors with 44 home runs allowed this season. He entered the postseason. What did he do? Give up a bunch of home runs.
Quick.
Yeah.
Anthony, hands up. Even I didn't give up 44 home runs in a year. Now, in all fairness, I also didn't approach 200 innings. Like
it doesn't matter.
Does, okay?
You didn't give up 44 home runs in a season.
No. I mean, close probably, but never that many. That just means he's aggressive in the zone. But yeah, like you could see that one playing out, right? All 4 of the home runs were in one inning, weren't they?
Yes, they were
against Arizona. Like,
yep.
So that is one. Look, if you can't hit the ball out of the ballpark, I know that a lot of traditional old school baseball fans don't love the style of baseball right now, and I understand that. And there are situations where you're watching in games, big playoff games, where a ground ball to the right side will get the job done, and you still see the lift and separate thing. It's like, oh, give it to me. Like, I understand. I understand why that might not be appetizing for a lot of people, but at the end of the day, the home runs are what got a lot of these teams there. That's what's changing these games. That's what changed Game 3, even though it was off the bat of somebody that nobody expected. It, the home run off of Scherzer, a guy that can't hit a fastball, and amazing how quickly innings get away. And that's another thing, because Scherzer, I wouldn't say he wasn't cruising necessarily. He was erratic, but it was a 2-strike, an 0-2 hit batter, a walk, a single, a wild pitch, and then the Maldonado home run that ended up changing everything for him. It's the home run. It is the power that really does, really does shift things. So looking at that from that lens, Anthony, and looking forward to 2024 with what you know about the Cardinals, do you believe that offense can play in the postseason?
Yeah, I do, provided it's one of those things, right? So we're talking about the home runs, but you and I both appreciate all aspects of the offense. We appreciate when a guy can look at 20 pitches, foul off 10 of them, and then draw a walk. Like we appreciate that. A lot of Cardinals fans appreciate that. Laying down a bunt, or at least not even laying down the bunt as much as just thinking the game. Yadi or Molina comes to mind in this, and that, okay, if I get a first pitch and it's outside, I'm going to drive the runner over just by going to the right side. All right, great. Thinking the game. So that is all. That all has to be in your arsenal, right? Everything has to be in your toolbox if you're going to be a successful offense during the regular season. But as we're talking about, then when you get to the postseason, not only do you have to have guys that can put the ball to the yard, they also have to do so, right? They have to come through. But just on paper, BT, we know that Nolan's got pop. Both Nolans, for that matter. We know that Gorman's got pop. We know that Arenado's got pop. We know Goldie's got pop. We know that... Who else am I missing here?
Well, I say Contreras and Walker, both.
Yeah, Contreras has pop. Walker. So when you look at just everything on paper, and you ask the question, do the Cardinals have the offense to make a deep run in the postseason? Again, on paper, yes. I think so. What about you?
But I do too. It's, again, they have to get there, they have to prove it, and they have to come up with the big hits at the biggest time.
Right.
That has been an issue. By the way, that brings me up. Last night, Anthony, I don't know if I ever told you this, I don't sleep well. So oftentimes, I'm there just laying in bed, and I just start reading stuff, which is probably why I don't sleep well. I get on my phone. They say that's really bad for you.
It's not good.
Blue light late at night. Yeah, it's not good. Anyways, I was doing that stuff that's bad for you late at night. And I'm reading a piece, and I think it was at The Athletic. It was Eno Saris, and Eno is great. Worked for Fangraphs forever.
Yeah, big numbers
does a really
guy.
Good job. Yeah, huge analytical guy. And he had a piece, and I thought it was really interesting, and I want to get your take on it, of the idea of clutch. And we've talked about this in the past. And basically, he's laying out that there is no clutch. There's not a clutch player, or there is not a way to go ahead. Our eyes lie to us when we're looking at a clutch player, which I understand some of it. But I also know what it feels like to be out there in front of thousands and thousands of people, and I know what that can do to somebody in that moment. Some rise to it, some shrink to it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really interesting thing. Do you still believe in clutch?
Absolutely. Yes. That's one of those things I wish that, we'll just call them the analytics crowd, would also come over on, right? They finally did so with, and by the way, I enjoy looking at analytics because I view them for what they are. They're not good or bad. They're not ruining the game. It's data
they're tools.
Yeah, that players and coaches and teams are looking at. And it's not always in-game decisions. It's, of course, whether or not to pay somebody market value based on whether or not they're going to be worth it. Like that, analytics come into play there. It's the whole Moneyball thing. So I view analytics as a tool, a resource. One thing, though, that I feel like the analytics crowd came over on, BT, and you know this, is the ninth inning guy. The ninth inning was always, it shouldn't matter. You could put anybody in the ninth as long as they have kind of that metric resume, they're gonna be fine. But as we know, and you did it for a living, you lived that, the ninth inning is a different beast. And I feel like the analytical crowd came over on that and said, yeah, for whatever reason, the numbers suggest that the ninth is the same, but for whatever reason, it's not. And the other thing, the clutch, I wish the analytics crowd would come over on that too, because I do believe that there's something as clutch.
Yeah,
it's just unmeasurable.
You should read the piece too, Anthony. If you sleep terribly, you should check that out at say 3-4 in the morning, potentially.
It's the best time to read those.
But he laid it out perfectly, though, and he's not wrong in the idea. Like, we see something in a moment. We watch Bryce Harper do what he's doing. It's like, that guy is clutch all the time. Then you go back and look at the numbers, maybe in tight and late situations. By the way, tight and late this year, he was really good. A couple of years ago, he was really bad in those situations. But we do build those narratives. I just know this. There are certain guys that I want up in spots like that. Now, that being said, Anthony, those guys tend to be really good players that I would want up in any spot at any time. So maybe that goes into that a little bit as well. And the other one is the idea, Anthony, of protection in a lineup. There's a lot of guys, and Keith Law, friend of the show, is one of those guys that really rails against protection in the lineup.
Yeah.
I think that is as real as. Tell me that's not real right now in the postseason when somebody is hot as hell. Let's use Castellanos if you want. Deep drive to left.
Sure.
Like if he's up there and he's on fire, you're telling me you could just put any bum behind Castellanos and feel pretty good about it?
No.
Hell no. Like,
Keith Law is a tool.
There you go, Janet. Yep.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, though. That's one of those things, Brad, where I can never not say that is, I think I used a double negative there. I could never say that protection in a lineup doesn't matter after listening to our guy Dunk for about 7 years on the turn. Talk about
second with Albert behind.
Yes. And that will never not be a thing to me, because he lived it and he talks about that all the time. So
it's like, guess I'm getting heaters.
Yeah. And then he used to do the old Albert impersonation or the impression. He'd go, get a hit, do it, come on, do it.
He turned Albert into Arnold.
He turned Arnold. Yeah, exactly.
Double now.
Like Dunk was about to get under the squat rack. Do it. This is brilliant. All right, that's Brad Thompson. I'm Anthony Stalter. BT filling in for Jamie for the next hour and a half. It is the Fast Lane. And while we do a little hot take or hot garbage, you send in a statement, or Marsh has got some statements lined up for us. Brad and I will discuss whether or not that statement is a hot take or hot garbage. That's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action tonight, taking on the Arizona Coyotes. You can catch all the action right here on the Blues Radio Network, 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We talked earlier today with former Blue Reed Lowe, as well as the voice of the Blues right here on the Blues Radio Network, Chris Kerber. If you missed any of those interviews, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have hot take or hot garbage coming up next. So if you have a hot take, send it our way to the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Hot take or hot garbage coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Brad Thompson filling in for Jamie Rivers, who's got Bally Sports Midwest duty tonight for the Blues and the Coyotes. Don't forget, you can listen to that game right here on 101 ESPN pregame, starting right after us here in the Fast Lane at 6 o'clock. Time to play Hot Take or Hot Garbage. Marsh, what do you got for us?
All right. Real quick, Marshy. Sorry, Anthony. I can't help but notice since I've been gone, all you just did was church up True or Poo a little bit.
Well, Brad,
is all you did right there. Brad, you took True or Poo, something that everybody loved and wanted and just waited for all the time, and then you turned it into something else.
BT, you know better than anybody that every single benchmark on all these shows are basically True or Poo. Every single one of them. Take it or leave it.
Call it by its name.
All right, True or Poo. Let's play Hot Take or Hot Garbage.
From the 661, Hot Take or Hot Garbage. Lamar Jackson will not win a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens.
I still think that's hot garbage. Lamar is finally... can we be a little patient? I'm wearing the T-shirt today. Can we be a little patient? Lamar is finally in an offense that does not require... the least amount of imagination ever known to man. Like the offenses that he was playing in under Greg Roman, you literally would see the same route mirrored on both sides, BT. So whoever the outside receiver was on the left side of Lamar would run, a dig, same thing on the other side. If there's Mark Andrews and a slot receiver lined up inside, they would run the same thing. And defense has figured it out. He's finally in a big boy offense. It's going to take a little time before he puts up the fantasy numbers again. But if you've been watching the games, he's been very efficient. I think he looks better now than he has over the last couple of years. And at some point, given that the defense is good and they've got some skill position players that I like, and Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, there's enough there. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I don't think that. I think it's hot garbage to just say he will never win one with the Ravens.
Going hot take, Anthony. This is a hot take.
Come on, Brad.
Sure. And this is not an indictment on Lamar Jackson.
Sure, it feels like it.
You laid out all the reasons why he's good, just not good enough. When you're in a conference that has Mahomes, I know that Joe Burrow maybe hasn't started off exactly as planned. Josh Allen, again, not exactly as planned, but still a high-power offense. And you got guys like Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, they're all kind of guys that he can run into over there, Anthony. I think that it's such a strong conference, and it always. For anybody that was the quarterback behind Tom Brady every year, where it's like, dang it, that's Mahomes. That's that now. You're always watching him run off into the sunset. I think that is a hot take that Lamar will not win a Super Bowl as a member of the Ravens.
It reminds me, what you just did, it kind of reminds me, I don't know if it was South Park or Family Guy, one of those, and they're having a debate. It might have been South Park, and Family Guy, and they're having a debate, and one side, they're getting in depth, and then Peter would just go, something like, America is great. And he'd get,
oh, yes. I think it was when he was running for school board.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Okay. Brett, and you're right. All you could, I could have said something, and then you could just say
Patrick Mahomes.
And then I'd say something else. Trevor Lawrence. Say something like Joe Burrow, and you'd be absolutely right.
That's the only problem.
I mean, that was the only problem really for Peyton Manning. It's Tom Brady. Peyton Manning could have 5 Super Bowls had he played in the NFC, or if Tom Brady was in the NFC full time. So that was a great point.
From the 217, and this one is interesting. Hot take or hot garbage? Alternate telecast like the Manning cast, which True TV is doing this NLCS, are going to be much more common as the regular broadcast is often not great.
Oh, I don't think so.
Hot garbage. The regular broadcast of everything you watch is fantastic.
Of course,
it's outstanding, and you love it, and you want more of it.
Yes.
That being said, I love some of the alternate broadcasts. Like, I think that they are a lot of fun. They can be insightful, and some of the pieces that you bring in. Honestly, it's something that I wish that we did. I think we had some conversations this year about potentially doing something like that moving forward. Not all the time, but every once in a while. I think it would be outstanding. But I got to go hot garbage because what you're watching night in, night out.
Solid.
Gold.
Absolutely. I'm only going to go hot take for the idea of we'll probably see it more, because if you're, I love the Mannings, and when I see clips of the Manning cast, I'm always laughing. I never tune into the Manning cast though, BT, because I want my traditional broadcast for the football game, and I'll get the insights and stuff and the fun stuff from Manning in those clips that ESPN.com will put together. But you get me in a situation where maybe I'm like watching basketball and I'm not as in tune to what the game is, with the actual game. And you have, I don't know, like Charles Barkley and Shaq. I would be more interested in watching that as opposed to the play-by-play for a basketball game.
That is a fantastic point. So maybe that is the best way ever to bring in that fringe fan. Bring in personality, bring in knowledge, and like same idea. Like sit me down with an alternate broadcast on soccer and make it funny, and probably have Ted Lasso doing it for me. And like in. Not that I'm not in already, because I've been soccer guy since day one.
No
when
doubt.
I started over at 101 years ago, I was beating that soccer drum, if you will, or blowing that vuvuzela the entire time.
Beating it and blowing it, there's no doubt.
I was doing both those things, and soccer's finally here, and look at them go. But yes, I think that's a fantastic way. Like, we're always looking at baseball, right? You're looking to, we got the old baseball fan, how do we get the new baseball fan?
Right.
Well, maybe it's some of that personality. That's something that I would like to do, and I would love to be a part of if they ever did. I want to do a kids broadcast. I want to do kind of like the NFL will do with the Nickelodeon game and stuff like that. Throw down to kid reporters and stuff. I just think it would, and not all the time, obviously.
Sure,
but every once in a while have one of those things. I think that you're always looking for ways to get new fans. I think that's a smart way to do it.
By the way, we got a text from the Air Comfort Service text line from the 636. Nib high football rules.
Nib high football rules.
I'm feeling your whole family's going down.
But I got to study.
All right, last one here from the 816. Richie Palacios is a major part of the outfield going forward. Hot take or hot garbage?
God, I hate the hot garbage, Richie.
Yeah, I'm struggling with
major part.
That's what I'm struggling with. Yep.
Yeah, I think that he did enough to absolutely, he's in the mix. He's in the mix to be on the roster next year. But major part to me ends up being that's pushing it, because if it works out the way that you expect it to work out, Walker's going to be in right field. You're likely to have Lars Nootbaar in left field. Those are two pieces they don't seem like they want to go away from. And chances are, if everything shakes out with your roster the way that it is right now, it's going to be Tommy Edman, I would think, in center field. I just don't see the room for him being a big part. That being said, I didn't see a merry-go-round in the outfield this year. So I got to go hot garbage off the top. But I hope, for Richie's sake, that he takes the opportunity and runs with it next year, just like he did this year.
So I have a similar thought process there as BT. Major contributor. I just don't see it happening. But as Brad just said, there's no question that he carved out an opportunity for himself heading into spring training. And if he has a hot spring training, who knows? I mean, this is how guys like Brendan Donovan and even a Tommy Edman do it. Tommy Edman came up, I think, kind of midway through the one season and flashed. Came back in spring training, and he's never looked back. Brendan Donovan had a really strong spring training last season, or not this past season, but last year, and he never went away. So you never know. he's at least carved out that opportunity for himself. Brad Thompson, Anthony Stalter, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We did not get a chance yet to talk to our guy Brad about Yadi and whether or not Yadi could join the coaching staff or what capacity would that look like. We'll talk about Yadi Molina and the Cardinals coaching staff next on 101 ESPN.
Get Macy's lowest prices of the season on incredible specials you need for fall. Like 55 to 65% off dressy and everyday coats for him and for her. 30 to 60% off dazzling fine jewelry during our diamond sale. And 65% off comfy sheets and bedding from Charter Club Damask to stay warm on cooler nights. Plus, download the app for even more great deals at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
If you're like me, hair isn't just hair, because hair is confidence. Hair is identity. Hair is everything. And I love that I can find beauty steals of 50% off my hair care must-haves like Lola V and Color Wow. Amazing deals on shampoo and conditioner pairs from Redken and Living Proof. And new product launches from my favorite brands like Dyson and Way. All at Ulta Beauty's gorgeous hair event. Happening now until October 21st. So hurry. Shop in store, online, or try pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Jamie and I are always telling you about our guy Stewie because he is a wealth of knowledge. And there are situations that come up in life that you might need help on because you don't have the answers for. Well, a guy like Stewie is going to help you out. And Stewie, I know one thing that you're often faced with, maybe not often, but you're faced with it, is divorce or partner buyouts. What can you do? What sort of advice do you have for people that are in those situations?
Well, the first thing everybody has to understand is that when you're doing a loan and you're taking out money to pay somebody else off, or you're paying debts off, in most cases, you're limited to 80% of the value of the property. That's called a cash-out refinance. When you're going ahead and you're buying out somebody else, a partner, an ex-wife-to-be, an ex-partner-to-be, whatever it is, it's not considered a cash-out loan, and you're not limited to the 80% rule. You can go over the 80% as much as 95% of the value of the property. So if you're in a situation and you have a partner on an investment property or you're getting divorced, God forbid, or whatever the situation is, you got to buy out that partner, you can go ahead and take the equity out without being penalized, without limitations, and even do it with the bagel loan with no closing costs. So don't be scared. We've had too many customers that said, hey, I can't get the money to pay them out. You can with this program. It's limited. Not everybody has it. Not everybody knows about it. Give us a call, and we'll tell you how to do it.
This is why Jamie and I recommend, Stewie. You might not know that there's little things that could make a huge difference when it comes to a loan like this. If you're in a tough situation and you feel like you're out of answers, pick up the phone. Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440. Tell him what your situation is. Tell him you heard him on 101 ESPN and you're just looking for some advice, just looking for some sort of knowledge when it comes to your situation. Stewie's going to help you. I guarantee it. Stewie, keep up the great work.
Have a good night, Anthony.
NMLS number 226715.
guys, so if Yadi is here, you know what that says to us, Cardinal fans? They're trying. They're trying to put something in that dugout. Their failures 3 in a row of no experience, putting some experience in the dugout. And guess what? That gives us a little hope that they're righting the disaster. So, anyway, nothing can hurt Yadi's. Nothing can hurt. People might get pissy, so what? And then they'll be fine. Did anybody go to watch Wayno on October 1st? It will all be fine. All right, it means they're trying.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Lisa, leaving us a mic drop. You can, too, via the 101 ESPN app. It's all free. Leave us a mic drop, anything we're talking about. And that was actually in response to a conversation that Jamie and I were having yesterday about Yadi Molina and some of the reports about the interest level in Yadi coaching. And BT, you played with Yadi. You know him very well. You know that he has said recently, he went on an interview in Puerto Rico and said, yeah, the Cardinals know my level of interest in coaching. Not that you have any inside knowledge or anything like that, BT, but one of the things that I have said lately is we don't know a lot of information. There's a lot of information that's missing here. How much does he want to coach? Does he want to consult? I mean, you know more than anybody. 162 plus games and what those coaches go through. Yadi he was a star here. I don't know if he would be a full-time assistant coach, but I think people are getting their hopes up with that. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, a couple of things. One, I wish Lisa was a little bit more passionate about her team. I feel
just
like
a little passion.
You just can't hear it every single time she speaks.
Good
Lisa's
call.
the best. Two, when there's smoke, there's fire. Like this is a real thing. These are real conversations that are going down. And look, just the concept and the overall idea of Yadier Molina on your major league coaching staff, and we'll talk about in a second, like what spot would best fit his personality or whatever, but just the idea of him being on the staff, hell yes, sign me up. Like, sign me up for a great baseball mind who did nothing but manage, basically, for 19 years behind the plate. He is one of the smartest, if not the smartest baseball person that I've ever been around. He already thinks like a manager. He's thinking innings ahead, pitches ahead. His recall is amazing, which is something when you get hit in the head for a living, like the fact that he's able to recall the stuff that he would recall and know how he sets up a batter and just all the preparation that goes into it. Yes, sign me up. Oh, and by the way, he is, God, what's a word I can say on air? He's got a bit of an edge, you know? He's got a little edge. So, yes, I think personality-wise, I think that he would be a great boost. Knowledge-wise, absolutely would be a great boost. Could he help out your catching situation right now? Hell yes, he could help out your catching situation. I might even suit him up. Chances are, if he's around enough. But the thing is, the biggest question, you laid it out perfectly, is what kind of a commitment is Yadier Molina ready for from a coaching standpoint? Because, Anthony, as you laid out perfectly, people don't understand the hours of the coaches. Like, they are there so much earlier than the players. They are there later than the players. They are there on off days. There's more information now than has ever been out there before. If they're not going to allow any coach, right? And this is pretty much in any capacity. You're not just going to come in and be OP, where it's just, hey, own program, do whatever I want to do, bingo, bango, bongo. If you're full-time, you're full-time. If you're in, you're in. And remember, last year when Yadi played, Yadi missed time during the regular season to go back and watch his basketball team, right? That he owned. Like it's a commitment to be there. And there are going to be things that you'll miss for. There are family things that you miss time for, and they allow that. And the staff is very good at helping out each other. Hey, you got this going on this weekend, whether it be a graduation or something with a family. Like, those things happen. But when you're there, you're there. Like, so that's the big question that I'm sure that Yadi is asking himself. And those are probably the conversations that he and the organization are currently having. But, man, sign me up to have Yadier Molina, a Cardinal Hall of Famer, will be a Cooperstown Hall of Famer in that dugout, help ushering on the future of this organization. I'm in.
Hey, BT, give us a reset. You started, the robot voice came back there for a second. AI got into the machine there, and we'll give BT an opportunity to reset. But Brad laid it out perfectly. There's a reason why, and to Lisa's point, is well made. It tells us that the Cardinals are trying. They're trying to get better in all facets, not just hey, go out and sign the best pitcher, just in all facets of improving their team. Bringing in Yadi Molina, that's what that would be about. You're serious about the situation, especially with Contreras. I just keep coming back to, now what? What sort of commitment, Marsh, would Yadi be willing to give the Cardinals?
I mean, if he signs up, he signs up. He knows what the deal is, right? He knows that.
Yeah, you would think.
Now, I think it depends on which position that is. If he's a consultant, well then, okay, he's back in Puerto Rico. There's really no reason for us fans to be upset with that. But if he's like a bench coach and he's doing some of that, then we have some concerns, right? And I feel like the Cardinals would too. But I don't think that they would bring him in if he even thinks that way.
Mm-hmm. I would hope not. This is what you just described. I brought this up yesterday. What you just described was the Matt Holliday situation.
Yeah.
Matt thought about it. To use his words, he prayed about it. And he did not want to be away from his family as long as it was going to be to be a full-time coach and also give it his all. So Matt, before the season started, said, hey, Cardinals, thank you for the opportunity, but I want to be at home, and we welcome in BT. Marsh just brought up the point, BT, about Yadi. If he let's just say he wants to be an assistant coach full time, and halfway through the season, it's like, well, he heads down to Puerto Rico and he's back and forth. I don't think that would. You want Yadi as much as possible, but I don't know if you want that inconsistency.
No, I totally agree with that. And again, that goes back to part of those conversations. By the way, how long into robot voice? Why didn't you just stop me right away?
Nah, you're on a roll.
Brad, I was rolling.
You were
Nobody
rolling.
knew what I was saying, though. Leave him alone. He's on fire.
One of the ultimate signs of disrespect is cutting somebody off. And I do not disrespect you, Brad.
Especially when they sound like a robot.
Speeding on he only does that when he's speeding on the highway.
Exactly. That's different. I don't know those people at that point.
Especially in construction zones. You get a good look at them. You do not know them.
School construction zones.
Of course, absolutely. Marshy, it's a great point, right? And again, that goes back to real deal conversations of what is the level of commitment, what do you want? Mm-hmm. If Yadi Molina, if his future, if he truly in his heart of hearts, whether he prays on it, thinks about it, whatever, if he wants to be a big league manager, well, it starts by putting in the work ahead of time, right? And this would be a great opportunity to be able to be on a staff. And this staff is very close-knit, and I promise you these conversations don't happen about Yadi Molina if it didn't have the blessing of the manager who has a great relationship with Yadi, because I know the initial thought is, oh, Yadi's there, he's sitting on the neck of Ollie Marmol. Ollie wouldn't like that.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, strong leaders hire people that can replace them. We've talked about this in the past. That's what good leaders do. Bad leaders hire people that they know are beneath them and they can't do a bunch of the things like, okay, good, I can manipulate these pieces. I'll keep this job forever.
Yeah.
That's a bad leader. Ollie is a very good leader. He's not afraid to have talented people around him. He wants to have talented people around him. He wants his team to be as good as possible. So I think that the signing, if they brought Yadi onto this coaching staff, first of all, it would be received well by pretty much everybody, except for maybe the guy if he took somebody's spot, like that ends up being a thing potentially. But the idea of the role is interesting because Yadi Molina, with his skill set, could fit all the roles. He's obviously got the skill set of a manager because he's been managing as a catcher for years. By the way, he's been managing in Venezuela, Puerto Rico. He knows how to manage. He'd be fine there. I think he would be an incredible bench coach of a guy that would, again, he's managing along with the manager. One of the best characteristics, I think, of a bench coach, and I know that Skip had this, and Super Joe has it as well. This isn't talking about all these positions and saying this guy's better than that guy, but one of the biggest things is being able to push back. If you have a different thought than the manager, or you have have data or information or just a gut feel, like, I think that's wrong, I think this, and then put it on the manager to actually like make that decision. I don't think that Yadi would have any problem just saying, no, that's stupid, this is the play.
Right.
And then Ollie can weigh those things, right, back and forth. And I know that the two of them have that respect among one another. Again, just playing hypothetical, that's the role, right? Just talking about it. Where even if he didn't take whatever the information was on that day, different route, they would talk about it afterwards, and they would be great. Like, there would be a great collaborative effort. So I'm just super interested how this plays out, because he could do the bench role. He could be a pitching coach. One of the best ever to do it was not a pitcher in Dave Duncan. I know you guys have talked about that. You don't have to be a pitcher to be a very good pitching coach. Is it a hybrid role? Do they create a position, as you talked about, where he could be in for a while and out? I don't think that that's a bad idea ever. Like, I would rather have a little bit of Yadier Molina, Anthony, than no Yadier Molina. Same thing, like the idea of Izzy. I'd rather have a little bit of Izzy than no Izzy, like around my big league staff. Like, whoever these guys are, keep your talent around and help your guys out.
Yeah, well said. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We have What's Trending coming up next.
on in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered with what's trending now.
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a Lion's Choice sandwich coupon.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Brad Thompson. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it is time for What's Trending. Brad, I don't know if we've talked about the whole Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce thing with you since you've been on with us.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, it gets even crazier. And I'm not even sure if there's any legitimacy to this, because once I say what I'm about to say, you'll probably question it a little bit. But this is from E.T. on Twitter, not the alien, but Entertainment Tonight.
I was already questioning it.
Yeah?
Quite frankly, Brad.
This makes no sense. It says Travis Kelce is going to go overseas and accompany Taylor Swift on the international leg of the Eras Tour. A source tells ET Taylor starts her international tour in November, and Travis is planning to be there to spend time with her. And it goes on to say some other stuff, but that makes no sense to me.
No. Why would Travis Kelce follow Taylor Swift in November?
In the middle of the season.
I'm sure she's got other concerts going on throughout the next year, right? I mean, he could go in March, May, hell, even April, Brad.
Yeah.
He ain't going in November.
There is a difference, though, between rich and wealthy. He's rich. She's wealthy.
True.
So, happy wife, happy life. Like, you're coming on this tour. I'm like, I had a job, but who cares? Nobody's
counting on me.
No, I would have to call BS on that one. I don't see him missing time, and I don't see any good partner in crime expecting you to miss time. So she's been very supportive of him thus far, from everything I see when they're showing her on TV, and I get to see some of the game. But I think overall, they look like they're having fun. He's out there buying mansions apparently that are more secure and she's probably footing the bill. Let's be totally honest on this one. But it's there's no way that happens.
Yeah, that is funny. I enjoy when a football game breaks out at a Taylor Swift concert, so that's good.
Unbelievable. Brad, you might not like this, but this is from Tom Downey, who is the host of Cowboys Report and NFL Daily host as well. Tweets out, Davante Adams wants to be a Cowboy. He thinks he and CeeDee Lamb would be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL, knows Mike McCarthy would actually feature him, and thinks Dak is a massive upgrade over the QBs he's had in Vegas.
Whew. Look, Anthony, a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
If I were, let's just act like I don't like the Raiders at all.
Okay.
That I not a newfound Raiders fan ever since they moved to Las Vegas. I would say check. All those things are true, but no, you can't have them. Because the bad quarterbacks need somebody to throw to, too. I would say even more so than decent quarterbacks. So, look, he can't go. He can't go.
Davante Adams has been taking an absolute beating this season. I don't know if you saw any of the Patriots game from last week, but he went over the middle on a pass, caught it, and then got drilled right in the sternum. Flew backwards, ball popped up, Patriots got an interception. I have seen that more than a handful of times this season alone with Davante Adams, so I'm sure he wants out. I will say this, though. If you're in an offense with CeeDee Lamb, there is only one football. So do you want 12 targets a game? Obviously, you want to win, but do you want 12 targets a game? Or do you want 4 or 5 because the ball's being spread out? I don't know. Just saying.
Well, he's only got 6 receptions in his last 2 games, so he probably wants somebody that's capable of throwing him the ball.
That makes sense. Yeah. Forget the targets. How about you be on target so I can actually catch it? That's a good point, PT. Yeah.
Brad, we talked earlier about Michigan and their sign stealing. I don't know if you heard about that, but I wanted to ask you, what was the process like in the dugout when players would look for signs, and how would that be relayed to the rest of the guys?
Yeah, look, I am all for sign stealing if you're not using electronics to do so. If you're not videotaping sidelines or videotaping sequences and then breaking all that down. And a lot of it is like you have a runner on second. He ends up picking up whatever the signs are. Sometimes you can see him. Sometimes it's the hand where it's at. It's the lean of location. You get different stuff there. Generally, it was picked from the guy at second base because that's just your best vantage point. Although guys that were really good at tipping pitches or showing, finding the tip. So Jim Edmonds, Albert Pujols, those guys were great at deciphering if a pitcher was tipping. That would be one where word would spread pretty quickly of what a guy is doing. But all that stuff to me is gamesmanship. That is part of it. If you don't like it, play better. If you don't like somebody picking your signs off, get better signs. Guess what? Second sign when you're the catcher and pitcher. If you're the battery, second sign's not going to work the entire game. I think that somebody might end up picking up on that. And now we have the pitch comm, so you don't have to worry about that stuff as much. But all that stuff to me is part of it as long as you're not breaking the real rules.
Last thing here, guys. Joel Hofer will make his first start of the season. Are you surprised that Jordan Bennington is not between the pipes tonight, given that it's been almost a week since he's played? Last Saturday was the last time the Blues played, so it will be a week from Saturday when he makes his first start.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought for sure we'd see Jordan Bennington, but what Jamie said made a lot of sense. You got Pittsburgh coming up on Saturday. So if you were going to get Joel Hofer one of these games, why not be, not that Arizona isn't capable of beating you, but maybe you look at it and say, between these two opponents, Pittsburgh's got a lot more firepower. Arizona, you should get more shots, which hopefully generates more goals, and Hofer can get his start against Arizona as opposed to Pittsburgh. But I was surprised initially when Hofer was announced.
Yeah, I agree with that, Anthony. I honestly would have gone the other direction. That's why they pay me the big bucks when it comes to hockey. And I wouldn't have started them versus Pittsburgh either. Honestly, I'd have waited until either Winnipeg or Calgary, and probably the Calgary on that one. Hey, when you're the number 2 guy, you get number 2 minutes and number 2 reps. But that's why Craig Berube gets paid the big bucks to keep his guys actually healthy and happy throughout a regular season. And I hope Hofer goes out and tears it up against Arizona.
Well said, Brad. Well said. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Anthony Stalter. 512. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. NFL fill in the blank next on 101 ESPN. Well, it's a pitcher's duel in Arizona for Game 3 of the NLCS between the Phillies and Diamondbacks midway through the 5th. 0-0. Phillies and Diamondbacks. So that's been a good one thus far, at least if you like pitching. Now, time for NFL Fill in the Blank. What do you got, Marsh?
All right, let's start off with blank versus blank is the most intriguing matchup this week.
Blank versus blank is the most intriguing matchup this week. Brad, I've got to go with Dolphins and Eagles. What were you thinking?
It's a great matchup. No, that is a hard one to beat, honestly. I got another one for you, though, because I find it intriguing. You were talking about Lamar Jackson a little bit earlier, saying that he will win at some point a Super Bowl as a member of the Ravens. I think Lions-Ravens is a very interesting matchup.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah, that was the other one as I was perusing the games here. That was the one I first stumbled upon. But then when you get to the Sunday night game, I'm like, you got a primetime matchup. Two unfamiliar teams with the Dolphins and the Eagles. Eagles coming off the loss. The Dolphins 5-1. They've absolutely bombed everybody outside of Buffalo. So I think that one is fascinating. And when you look at the Eagles defense versus the Dolphins offense, you get into the X's and O's and things like that. To me, it's Dolphins-Eagles. That's the most intriguing one.
Guys, we know the Patriots are terrible this year. Blank is the reason why the Patriots are 1-5.
Bill Belichick is the reason why the Patriots are 1-5. He put together a team that is devoid of overall speed, especially on defense. I mean, his defense, the players are pretty good, but there's no speed. You go up against, and Miami's going to outrun most opponents, but you go against Miami. You go against some of these other teams that got speed at the receiver position or speed in the backfield, and the Patriots have no shot. I know Mac Jones has struggled, but you can't run the ball at all. I don't know how this offense, Brad, has gotten worse under Bill O'Brien than it was under the combination of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge last year. Like, explain that one to me. But they could run the ball last year. They can't do that now. But Bill Belichick.
I would say, Anthony, and you're spot on. The explanation is probably, I don't care how good your coaches are. It's amazing. Your coaches get better when your players get better. And
good call.
They have not done a great job of bringing in really a good personnel. My fill in the blank started with Bill Belichick, but it was Bill Belichick's deal with the devil is finally due. So that's the reason. It's like, all right, you're paying for it. Like, you had all this great time, and now it's your time to end up paying up on that. Anthony, is that kind of the equivalent of what Bill Belichick has built over there and what he's doing, of like a team that's like, okay, well, everybody's hitting homers. We're going to play small ball. Everybody's getting strikeouts. We still think ground balls are the key. Like, is that kind of the equivalent of what they're doing over there?
I would say so. That's a perfect comparison. Yes. Yeah, it's like the league is predicated on passing and speed and, skill position players, and Miami's hiding their offensive line with all the skill position players that they have in the offensive scheme. We'll go the other way. We'll go slow, physical, and eventually when teams start to run the ball again, we'll be ready. Yeah, you're right. That is the exact opposite, man.
All right, guys, next one. A win this week from blank will propel them into the upper echelon of the league.
Upper echelon's a tough one. I got a team in mind here, and I don't know if it's going to upper echelon them, because I still don't believe, even if they beat the team that they are going against, I still don't believe them to even win the division necessarily. But I'm thinking about the Chargers, Anthony. There's no way that Justin Herbert is as bad as things have looked. There's no way that the Chargers are as bad as things have looked. What if they end up knocking off the Swifties? What if they end up going out there and just playing against the Taylors and they get it done? Like, that gives you a little bit of swagger, and then maybe all of a sudden they're nipping at the heels of the Chiefs in the division and in the AFC.
That's a good one. I hate to go back to the same matchup, but if the Dolphins go into Philly, and the spread is only 2.5, so it's not like it would be a huge upset. But we know that the Eagles came into the year as a Super Bowl contender. We thought the Dolphins could be good. I had them winning the AFC East, but a lot of people kind of just had them as a playoff team. You beat the Eagles in Philly, I think you go from probably about the 4th or 5th best team to, at the very least, the 3rd best team, if not the 2nd best team. So I think the Dolphins would. They're already good at 5-1. But if they lose to the Eagles, here's what I think happens, Brad. You start to look back at their schedule. You look at the Panthers, the Giants, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Chargers. Those are their wins. They faced Buffalo in Buffalo and gave up nearly 50 points. So if they were to lose to the Eagles, I think people can start to play the schedule game and reverse this against Miami. If you win, you get vaulted back. You know, you're a top 3 team at this point if you win.
Next one. Blank has had the most impressive defense this year.
Cleveland. I know that's going to surprise some people, but when you look at what they did to the 49ers, and granted, you're losing Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel at various points in that game, that certainly hurts. But even go back to week 1 when they harassed Joe Burrow. It wasn't just because Burrow was dealing with calf injury. I mean, they really got after him. I think Cleveland has one of, if not the best defenses in the league, but we're not talking about them because the offense stinks and because they lost Nick Chubb and because Deshaun Watson's been bad and banged up. So I look at Cleveland and say that if they ever get an offense that is just average, I think Cleveland can make a lot of noise in the AFC.
No, that is fair, and that is actually a really good reason. Like you don't tend to talk about teams when the other side of the ball isn't getting it done.
Right.
Like the Saints have a really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the Saints defense because their team overall is just not flashy. It's not that much fun. Did you expect the Chiefs defense to be as good as it is, Anthony?
Boy, that's
because
yeah.
the second fewest points per game against them, just behind the 49ers. Like we always think it's Mahomes, it's Kelsey, like that's what it is, but damn, that defense is good.
You know, Brad, man, that is a great call. They had without the Chiefs' defense this year, you really wonder if they're sure. I don't think they're 5-1 without the way that they're playing. And I hate to minimize the impact of Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid, but every game this year they held the Lions to 21. They held the Jaguars to 9. They held the Bears to 10. They held the Jets to 20. They held the Vikings to 20. They held the Broncos to 8. Now, they haven't necessarily faced, outside of Detroit, a murderous row of offenses, although the Jacksonville is starting to come alive here, too, so we know about their weapons. But still, that is a young defense that everybody questioned, and rightfully so, coming into the year. And Spags has turned that unit into probably the most underrated. I wouldn't say the best, but I would say the most underrated defense in the league. That's a great call, Brad.
Last one for you, gentlemen. We talked about the Dolphins earlier. You guys brought them up. Blank will be the reason why the Dolphins or the Eagles will win on Sunday Night Football.
What do you got, Brad?
Anthony, I got a random one for you, okay? And you can blow me out of the water on this one if it doesn't hold any weight, because I got the Dolphins winning this one. Okay? But the reason is not going to be, not that they can't show up. They're going to need them to show up. It's not the high-powered offense, though. The reason is going to be the D-line and them getting to Jalen and sacking him a bunch of times. You know that they're tied for 3rd in the league, the Dolphins are, in sacks? I think that defensive line is going to end up being the difference. The pressure that they put on Jalen Hurts and the fact that they're going to be able to contain him in the pocket, I think that's going to be the difference in this game.
So I also have the defense, but for the opposite reason.
Really?
Yes, I have the Eagles winning this one, and I really liked Miami because of the defense. I'm like, we're going to talk about the offense the entire time. Watch this defense. Yeah, watch this defense give up a bunch of points, and the offense it just continues to roll. I have been disappointed in the way that Vic Fangio's defense has played thus far. However, I think that's an interesting stat that you throw out there, in that they're 3rd right now in sacks. So clearly they're generating pressure. And maybe when Jalen Ramsey comes back, and I guess he's been practicing a little bit this week, I don't know if he's going to make his return. But when Jalen Ramsey comes back, I think things turn a little bit. But they're allowing 498.7. No, I'm sorry. That's the total offense for them. Where's their defense? I'll look it up. But their defense has been struggling a lot this season. So unless that turns around, I also think the way that they play off offensively, the defense is on the field a lot. You know, they can score quickly. Yeah. It's great. Awesome. But at some point, I think Mike McDaniel is going to have to figure out, we're going to have to slow down the tempo a little bit in the second half, protect the lead so I don't gas out my defense. And have a situation of a la the 28-3 Super Bowl game where Kyle Shanahan gassed out his own defense and the Falcons end up losing it. But I think the defense right now for Miami is questionable.
Yeah, well, and just to your point, they're right in the middle of the pack. They're 13th in defensive yards per game,
there you
343.7, right? So that puts them kind of right there in the middle. I think that pressure might end up being the difference. By the way, real quick, Anthony, Mike McDaniel, when you're talking about your pantheon of coaches right now, where does McDaniel fall for you?
That's a great question. I got Andy Reid, 1. I've got Kyle Shanahan, 2.
Go ahead, do it.
I've got
Sean McVay's playbook.
I got Sean McVay's playbook. 3. Boy, I hate leaving Belichick out, but he also just sewered him.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, from a coaching standpoint, it's hard to beat, but he just doesn't have the personnel.
Or personality.
Wow. Sean, I mean, you look at like Sean Payton. I love Sean Payton, but not great.
He doesn't even know what down it is.
No, he doesn't. It's like Russ got into his head or something. I love John Harbaugh. I love Pete Carroll. I think I'd still put Harbaugh and Carroll in front of them, Tomlin in front of it, but McDaniel's probably in that 6-7 range at this point.
Not bad for a young guy.
No, hell no. I mean, his off the way that he has coached the way that he schemes up his offense, very similar to that of Shanahan, which is great. But the details in which he executes, like he's got receivers knowing that when they hit a certain point in the route, the ball is going to be put on like the left shoulder or the right shoulder so that they can turn upfield. That's Bill Walsh stuff. So I'm just very impressed with Mike McDaniel. I'll just give the other guys that have done it a lot longer the credit first. But I think Mike McDaniel's in the top 10 right now. And you're right, for a young guy, it's very impressive. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have a Cardinals-related biggest question of the day next.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We have Blues Coyotes pregame action coming your way right after the show. It starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We talked earlier today with former Blue Reed Lowe as well as Chris Kerber. So if you missed any of those interviews, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Right now, Game 3 between the Phillies and the Diamondbacks is all knotted up at 0s heading into the bottom of the 6th inning. The Phillies lead that series 2-0. The Astros picked up a win in the ALCS as the Rangers lead that series 2-1. Tonight we have Thursday Night Football. It's the Jaguars taking on the Saints. We talked some NFL. We just did fill in the blank. So once again, if you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out that mobile app. It's free. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
That's right. Time for the biggest question of the day here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. My guy Brad Thompson filling in for Jamie Rivers, and BT will be with us a couple of times next week too, including on Monday, full show. He'll be in studio. BT, biggest question of the day. This is something that I was thinking about in reflecting on the Orioles season. Obviously didn't end the way they wanted to because of the playoffs. They got swept, but the season was outstanding. And they did so because of their youth. How quickly do you think, I know the Cardinals need pitching, and that's an obvious one, but how quickly do you think the Cardinals can go from where they are now, unfortunately last place, to back to being a legit contender to win the division, and then beyond with their youth? Forget about what they do in free agency, but with this young crop of players, can we see a quick turnaround because of that youth, or does it have to be supplemented big time with free agency?
No and yes. No, you're not going to see a quick turnaround simply because of the youth, Anthony. And yes, you're going to have to go supplement it. Now, that being said, you make a great point, and the Orioles, I think, are a very interesting comp. Now, the Orioles, as you very well know, they've been drafting high for a long time, and they were able to pick up, a 1-1 in Adley Rutschman, who is like their leader. He's the heartbeat of kind of everything that they do. Gunnar Henderson was a second-round pick, 42nd overall. Like, they did a good job in their draft, and those guys have escalated to the big leagues. And then via free agency and via the trade market, they kind of tweaked their rotation a little bit. But we should all be, as Cardinal fans, you should be excited about the young players that you have coming up, specifically in Walker and Wynn. I'm excited a little bit further down the pipeline in guys like Tink Hence. I'm excited to see what we have in Graceffo, who I think will likely be a part of the bullpen if everything shakes out the way that they wanted to maybe in spring training. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that things turn around like the Orioles did, specifically because of your young players. Is Walker going to make strides from last year to 2024? Hell yeah, is. He made enormous strides in just the year that he had. Is Wynn going to learn, especially offensively, from how he was attacked and different tendencies and just the speed of the game that he got to experience for the last month plus? Of course, yeah, absolutely he will. But I don't think that it's going to be to the level, Anthony, where those guys just carry you and you don't have to totally tweak your pitching. That's still the be-all, end-all. You mentioned it before, and Marshy just mentioned it in the update. What do we have right now? We got ourselves a pitcher's duel in the NLCS late in the ball game. You still got to be able to throw the ball very well, and you still have to make some big tweaks. But are you excited, or do you believe in what the Cardinals have from a youth standpoint, Anthony?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because, Brad, a lot of times we phrase it as baseball fans, and really sports fans, is what's that next season going to look like, right? So when we're talking about this, we're talking about really next season. And I think everything that you illustrated with Jordan Walker and Mason Wynn and Nolan Gorman, these young guys, are they going to make dramatic turnarounds and they're going to be stars, all of them, next year? No.
Yes.
Yes.
But yes. Even
maybe
if
not.
they are, you still have to pitch.
You still have to pitch, right. But when I think of teams like the Braves, when I think of teams like the Orioles, Orioles bad comp. Let's just, the Braves, the Dodgers. We're talking about teams that drafted well, got the foundation in place, and then added. That is the way to turn things around and have it be sustainable. Of course, though, you need to develop an ace. If you don't, everything's moot, and we found that out this season. But I think about how some fans view it. Some fans view it as soon as you have that one big offseason, you're good. I don't view it that way. I view it the way the Braves have done it, where you've got Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider and Austin Riley. And at one point when you won the World Series, Freddie Freeman. Then you added Matt Olson. Then you added Sean Murphy. Then you added, So that's the way I look at this. If we want to be serious about the Cardinals joining the upper echelon again, it will need to be because of Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman and Mason Wynn and, God willing, like Tink Hence or somebody from the pitching staff.
Well, and so to piggyback off the first two names that you mentioned with Atlanta, Anthony, in Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies,
international.
I think that exactly, man. Yeah. International free agents. That's where a lot of the talent in baseball. If you're not scouring and paying top dollar in the Dominican and Venezuela, getting guys that end up defecting from Cuba, that's where a lot of your talent is coming from, and a lot of your assets should be focused in that direction as well. So they have drafted well. They have developed well. They did, as we've talked about for the last couple of years. They've done a good job of shifting. The Cardinals have always had pitching. They were devoid of position player talent. What did they do? Well, they went out and drafted position player talent. You got guys at the big league level now, like Nolan Gorman, a first rounder, Jordan Walker, a first rounder in 2020, Mason Wynn. All of these, the shift that they made, it has worked. But you got to keep adding to it. And then once you get the guys in the organization, again, this comes down to evaluating the correct talent and then developing them correctly. So you got to make sure throughout the organization, top to bottom, that you have the right resources for all of these players to have the best chance of succeeding. So maybe that means spending more money on your minor leagues. That's not as sexy to the fan, right? The fan looks at it, it's like, well, you only spent this much money on free agents. You only gave Nola and Gray $350 million or whatever. Fingers crossed. But sometimes $5 million that you sprinkle in the minor leagues that nobody ever sees might end up being the difference in, of the next generation of sustained success. Sure. That's the interesting part of it.
Yeah. Well, let's hope for a quick turnaround. Let's hope that they get that pitching.
Oh, yeah, next year's the year.
Next year.
Last
to first, baby.
It happens. Look at the Red Sox. Wasn't that the Red Sox that just every couple of years, last first. You end up signing the right free agents. It's not, you don't have to squint to look at this team and say, well, if they could pitch, they'd be in it.
Right.
If they could have pitched, they could have been in it. If they could win one-run games, they would be in it. Oftentimes that's pitching. So, and something that we have talked about quite a bit, we'll continue to talk about it throughout the entire offseason, Anthony, is when we talk pitching, the first thing that everybody thinks about is the rotation. And rightfully so, understandably, when you don't necessarily have a one or a two.
Sure.
Yes, you need those. You need to bolster that bullpen too, because that bullpen, you want to talk about an area where you can seal down some victories, you can swing some one-run games your way. That's a great area to be able to add.
It is not an either or. It is an and. I agree. Yeah. You need to get the pitch. You need to get the starting staff and revamp that bullpen. I agree. this Phillies Diamondbacks game, man, you got to love postseason baseball. So Ketel Marte led off the bottom of the sixth with a double. Almost got the ball out, hit the wall, bounced back. Marte hustled in for a double. He got moved over because of a near base hit to the right side. Bryson Stott made a sensational play at second base to keep the ball in the infield, got the runner out at first, and it looks like the Diamondbacks, the Phillies got the second out of the inning on a strikeout. So Marte moved over to third, did not advance on the strikeout, of course, and now it's Christian Walker who's up in the bottom of the sixth. But this has been tight throughout. It has moved quickly. It has been a pitcher's duel. Diamondbacks obviously need it. You can't go down 3-0 or else you're in a lot of trouble. But this one's been fun so far. And I know you've kept an eye on it too.
I can't tell you how much it pisses me off that you're that far ahead of me in the ball game. Because I just right now saw the strikeout. Oh, really? I didn't know Walker was up yet. Yeah, no, I'm way behind.
I won't spoil it for you then. I won't spoil it for you.
No, you should. Like, don't we live in a world where everybody should be on the same time no matter what their provider? Aren't we? Isn't this America? What are we doing?
I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
7 times.
I thought this was America. Well, we'll give you an update on the Phillies and Diamondbacks, and we'll have what you missed next on 101 ESPN. In just about 10 minutes, we'll have the pregame show for you for the Blues and the Coyotes. Of course, we'll have the play-by-play. Chris Kerber alongside Joey Vitale. Our guy, Alex Ferrario, will be down at Enterprise Center for tonight's game. So looking forward to the Blues and Coyotes game 3 of the new season. If you missed anything from our show today, you can always download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. First 2 hours of the show, we had Jamie Rivers in, talked to Reed Lowe. Reed Lowe stopped by. Talked to Chris Kerber as well. Previewed the Thursday night football game, including talking about BT, who was with us for the final 2 shows, or the final 2 hours of the show. BT, we're talking about your guy, Derek Carr, your former guy. And I said, we put that guy in bubble wrap because I have seen nothing different about Derek Carr's game in New Orleans than I did in Vegas or Oakland. Fair statement?
Yeah, it's fair. He kind of is who he is at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I hyped him up a little bit more when he was with Raiders, and maybe I comped him sometimes to guys like Mahomes, Brady, and pick your favorite quarterbacks. I would throw them in there every once in a while. But realize this, I was lying because, boy, not great.
No.
Not great over there, old Derek.
It's not all him.
He can run his mouth a little bit, but other than that.
I love these. I don't care about the stats. Really? Because you checked down to Kamara like 19 times. You don't care about your stats? Really?
Not here about the stats. Yeah, I'm here to win.
Right.
How's that going?
Throw the ball more than 7 yards, Derek. Anyways, you got Thursday night football tonight, here on, actually, no, we get the Blues game for you. I'm so used to saying that. Here on 101 ESPN, but I just told you we get the Blues tonight. So that's the Thursday night game.
Prime TV.
On
that's
Prime
where it's
TV.
At, right?
Yep, that's right. BT and I had you covered for the final 2 hours of the show. We played Hot Take or Hot Garbage. We played NFL Fill in the Blank. We talked about Cardinals and whether or not the youth movement can lead to a quick-ish turnaround, and what impact would Yadi have on the clubhouse as a coach, and what sort of impact he could have, obviously. What do we got for criticism? Oh, BT, you got something?
Oh, yeah, real quick, Anthony. I just want you to let you know, Christian Walker grounded out the shortstop. I just saw that. Crisis averted.
42 minutes later.
If you weren't listening a segment ago, my TV is far delayed. Anthony was giving us play-by-play, and I was about 2 batters behind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Marsh, don't do that.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, you're right. Literally in a commercial right now. So BT, I said, we'll have an update for you. Yeah, BT's right. Christian Walker grounded out to the shortstop, so the threat was extinguished after Marte led off the bottom of the 6th with a double, so it's still 0-0. And the Phillies now batting in the top of the 7th. All right, Marsh, what do we got? Criticisms, compliments?
Yeah, from the 501, it just says Stalter be better. That's
okay.
it.
Yeah, it's just in life.
Was that from the 702?
The 501.
Oh, my bad. Keep strolling.
Do we have something from Vegas?
No.
I just be better, because that could apply to anything. And I might be thinking to myself, be better on the show, be better in life, and then I'm sure this texter would just say yes.
That could be one. Honestly, get yourself like a little wristband. Just says "be better." Like that would be a good thing to do. Like be better, be a better father, better husband, better coworker,
friend,
better human,
son,
a better friend.
Yeah,
all those things. Be better. Thank you. Like I know it was for you, Anthony, but I am going to take that on for the rest of my night. I'm going to be better tonight.
Good. I think that's just great. That's just a good look, for anybody.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Real quick. We're stealing this, but that's half of the industry. I am picturing that shirt you're wearing right now.
Yeah.
Instead of patient, it says better. And we run it, and we sell them, and we give all of the proceeds to us because we came up with that. It was a very good idea.
I'm with you. I think that's a great call.
Better.
Be better.
Fast lane.
We got one from the 618. I miss True or Poo.
God, man. I mean, was that the 702? Because, agreed, you tried to put some window dressing on it, Anthony. I know True or Poo when I smell it, and that's exactly what that segment we did was, but you called it something about garbage.
Brad, without you, True or Poo just lost a lot of its luster.
It was a steamy segment, Anthony, and you know it.
It certainly was a steamy segment, but it just got too hot to handle.
Well, you never liked it, okay? You never liked it from the onset.
I didn't like the title.
Well,
The
you didn't
segment
have to
was
smear it.
just
You didn't
fun.
have to smear
I
it. That's
smeared
the thing.
nothing. I didn't
Yes,
even
you
touch
did.
it. I didn't even touch
Yes,
it,
you
Brad.
did.
I hope not.
No,
golly.
I walked in. I said, "What stinks?" And I realized it was that title. That's all.
What is this? True or poo? I don't like it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I
what you
sound.
did.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Marsh, go ahead.
BT sounded like a robot today for just, I don't know, like 30 seconds. We let him keep going. But from the 314, got to say, BT on auto-tune. I like it. Got some flair to it.
Yep.
Oh, golly. I got to listen to that. That might be my new thing. I just
sounded
come into
good.
a segment as
Well, you weren't cutting out, so we just let you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just, it wasn't the robot voice that way. It was.
way better.
Yeah, like.
Sounding a little Megatron-ish.
Yes. Yeah.
Why did you stop me? We could have done the next hour like that.
Nah, you were wrong. Oh, why did we? Yeah, that's a good question.
We could have kept going.
Yeah.
All right, last one here from the 636. Oh, man, I miss Dunk. I love any story involved with him. It always brings a laugh.
Yeah, amen to that, man. Miss that guy every single day, Brad. I know you do too.
Oh, no. I think about it. I think about it during the postseason when an outfielder is chasing a fly ball where he's under it. It's routine. Maybe not for that guy. You don't know what he's feeling on the inside because Dunk would be, he's a glass case of emotions when he was out in the outfield.
He certainly was, man. But yeah, we were talking about him hitting in front of Albert. There were times where he'd hit behind Albert, and Albert would get on and he'd look over at Dunk, going up to the bat, and Dunk, for whatever reason, always turned him into Arnold. Do it! Get a hit!
Do it now!
You can do it now! Yeah, Dunk always turned Albert into Arnold's great. All right, Brad, always a pleasure, man. Great stuff as always. Love you, man.
Hey, I will see you guys Monday. Let's go Blues.
Perfect. There you go. So you got Blues hockey coming up. Blues, Coyotes, pregame starting right now for Andrew Marsh, Brad Thompson, Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. See you.